Welcome into the Pride of Detroit POD cast. A little bit of a fumbled start there because I was literally about to get up from my seat, but welcome into everybody to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. I am your host, Miko. That is Pride of Detroit just about everywhere on social media, your favorite social media sites, your least favorite social media sites. Today, we are going to be getting into a lot of talk about the Lions Hall of Fame game yesterday. But before we do all of that, let me introduce the co-host that I have here with me today. First up, we have your senior editor over at prideofdetroit.com. We have Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. Ryan, what's going on, my guy?
Not a lot, Miko. I just want everybody to know that this is a Micah Parsons free zone, all hour plus long.
Except for that. Except for that.
Yes.
And except for when I probably bring it up during the break because I'm so fascinated by this story and I just want to stir the pot a little bit. So we're definitely going to talk about it there. But also we are also joined by Jeremy Reisman. Jeremy, what's going on, my guy? How are you feeling after a preseason game, first preseason game of the year?
I'm okay. I'm a little sleep deprived. I'm already sick of primetime games, and we're only one in. But I think Miko, it's appropriate that you started this podcast with a fumble because the preseason game started with a fumble.
See, I'm just following suit, right? I'm trying to
That's
set
right.
the example that our team is setting for us, which is that even if you have a rocky start, it's preseason and that nothing really matters, right?
That's
No
right.
matter how bad the start is, it's all about evaluating. It's all about getting a good idea of what type of talent you're working with. And at least I know when it comes down to you guys, I'm working with premier talent. So again, even with a rocky start by me, we're gonna get to smooth sailing here. Again, throughout this podcast, though, we are gonna be talking about the Lions Hall of Fame game, some of our biggest takeaways from that game, players who stood out, moments that really stood out, and kind of how we're feeling about at least the developmental talent or again third and fourth string units of this team, and who really kind of shined throughout last night's game. But Ryan, I'm gonna kick it over to you first and really just ask the question straight up. What was one of the biggest takeaways that you had from this game? Because again, it's a preseason game, so it's you're not trying to come away with some of like some groundbreaking news here, but there are observations to take away from a game like last night's.
Yeah, I think my first one was less like Lion centric and more kind of Charger centric. Funny enough, it's like, oh, a former third overall pick is with Jim Harbaugh in camp. So he's going to carve up the Lions defense for sure. And that happened. I think that was honestly one of my big takeaways. And Trey Lance played deep into this football game too. So the Lions couldn't get away from him. And I mean, the guy clearly was drafted third overall for a reason, and now he's with a quarterback whisperer in Jim Harbaugh. So that's why he's taking advantage of guys like Lawrence Strickland and Ezekiel Turner and the bunch. So I don't know. That was one of my big takeaways is that there's kind of like a disparity in talent last night, especially in the first half, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this isn't super surprising that it's happening. And probably one of the less like obvious takeaways I think that we'll get into. So I just wanted to get that on the board. Like sometimes like talent just matters. And like there was a little bit of a disparity in talent between the Lions and the Chargers.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you can flip it on the other side and just remind yourselves of the Lions defenders that were out there, right? How many of those guys are even going to make the 53 that were out there last night? You got like Rock Ya-Sin, who played good.
Yeah.
You had Ahmed Hassanin, played good.
Yep.
Who like Pat O'Connor barely played and was fine. I'm
Yeah.
already
Bergstrom.
running out of names of players that are actually going to be on the team, and so if you're worried about Trey Lance carving up the likes of some of these guys, Dan Jackson will be on the team, but he'll probably play special teams, and Zach Cunningham didn't have his best day after a strong camp. Maybe he makes the team, maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's another linebacker reserve that's mostly relegated to special teams.
Yeah.
The big point being, not only did the Lions rest literally every single starter on their roster, but also a couple of like their reserve guys, the rotational guys, and so maybe like I know everyone already knows this, but it feels like given some of the hysteria I saw online last night, maybe it bears repeating that the Lions are benching a lot of people right now, and it's fine. And I think to kind of like throw another observation in there, go back and look at what happened the very first preseason game last year. Do either of you guys
Oh,
remember it?
oh, it was a sloppy, wet mess in New York.
That's right. It was
Yeah.
14-3. Lions got smoked. It was terrible.
I was gonna say no, and I think that's kind of like I thought that was gonna help drive your point home even more. Is that no one remembers what the last preseason game looked like. Like no one genuinely cares a year later. I think we do. I think to your point, Jeremy, like, we blow things up in the moment, and I think it's just because we're so starved for football. Like I want to give people some grace, right? I don't want to sit here and just act as if people don't understand what is happening. I think people become so starved for football. They hear all these great things coming out of camp. They get football on the screen, and then the minute it doesn't immediately match with some of the things they've read or heard or whatever the case may be, people go into mass hysteria. And it's like everyone needs to take a step back on a nice Friday like today and realize that this was just the first preseason game where all of the things that both of you guys just said are very much true. There was a disparity in talent. The Lions did not roll out even some of their other reserves that actually probably would have helped impact this game, probably in a more positive light. But like Morgan and I talked about in a video that we released on YouTube, like these preseason games are still meant for evaluation. Like this is not necessarily to help you get an idea of what this team is going to look in the regular season. They're evaluating what talent they need to carry into the regular season.
Yeah, and they're evaluating how these players play in specific roles too, right? Like maybe you have some guys playing where they're not most comfortable, but you're just like, hey, can you go play the Sam linebacker position? Let's go see in a game situation. It's especially the first game, right? Like they're still trying to figure out everything with these guys. This is a bonus rehearsal for this team, and they're using it to do a bunch of interesting things that aren't going to look great off the top. I mean,
the game started with Grant Stewart returning a kick that he fumbled. Like,
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
that set the tone for the rest of the game where it's like, oh, we're just doing wacky, zany stuff. Okay,
Right.
all right. Like, let's just have fun. By the end of 4 quarters of it, it was like, okay, this is like really sloppy and there's 5 turnovers and a lot of this is not good.
Yes.
But that set the tone where it was like, oh, Grant Stewart is returning kicks in this Hall of Fame game. Okay, we're going to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
I kind of want the Grant Stewart thing to stick though. Like I don't know why. I was actually like, I was fine with it. The second return made me feel better about it. The first return, not so much.
36
Second return,
yard.
I was like,
36
yeah.
yard return. All right, Grant Stewart, way to bounce back, bud.
It's just
And
fun.
I think that's
there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
having a little fun out there, and I don't even think it's necessarily that bad of a strategy. Obviously, maybe a month's worth of kickoff reps, and he'll be a little bit more safe with the football. But I almost feel like it was almost good for that for him. Like, go through the trauma of your very first NFL kick return being a fumble. Now you're not going to ever fumble again because you're always going to remember that.
Yeah, fingers crossed, right? But like, but that to that point too, like some of the guys who are going to be contributors, I guess that was my takeaway. You know,
Yeah.
Rocky Sin made plays. You know, Ahmed Hassanin, we'll see how much playing time he would actually get in a regular season NFL game. But Grant Stewart, that terrible, awful, bad mistake on the very first play of the game, came back, had the good return, had a sack. Generally played like some pretty good football where it's like, okay, cool, like veteran mindset. The guy can like take that one play, wipe it away, and can show that kind of consistency and better play moving forward. That's really what you're looking for, right? You're looking for the guys who aren't going to tailspin, the guys who aren't going to, let one rep completely derail their entire game.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I know that's some of the things that really stood out to me. It was like it's not necessarily trying to evaluate. I can't evaluate everybody, right? Like especially as a fan, you're not really able to do that, but you're trying to keep an eye on certain guys where you're just like, okay, does this player look like they are ascending? Are they trending upwards? Are they is the moment too big for them or anything like that? But I'm kind of with you on that regard, Ryan. Jeremy, was there anything specific for you that really stood out from last night's game?
I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off, folks. We got to talk quarterbacks. I'm sorry. We just got to do it. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a very disappointing night for both quarterbacks. I'm not necessarily gonna sugarcoat it though, but I also think there's like a wild overreaction happening there as well. I thought, and Dan Campbell said it, and I actually rewatching the game, I kind of agree with him. Whereas like Kyle Allen actually moved the football pretty well. And things would look a lot different had Dominic Lovett not dropped the first pass that he threw that was an absolute dime for like 15 to 20 yards. Would have looked a lot different if maybe they called pass interference on Isaac Toslaw on the deep shot where he was clearly knocked off his route. Wasn't a good pass either way, but probably should have been called. In that case, like, they probably have 2 or 3 scoring drives, and you're like, oh, that was actually a fairly decent day from him. But obviously you can't overlook the interceptions that he threw. You can't overlook the fact that he slid on a 3rd and 4, 2 yards short during a 2-minute drill. Those are mistakes that he made. And as a veteran, he's supposed to be the level one that just runs the offense, right? Like, doesn't make them big mistakes, doesn't try to do too much, and he did too much. So that's bad. Hendon Hooker to me was very much a, like, not enough information. It wasn't good. He threw 6 passes, though. He had 11 dropbacks, so 2 sacks and 3 runs on top of that. But, man, I watched that tape, and no one was doing his favors. Like, some of the play calling was a little bit head-scratching. We were kind of discussing one bootleg where there was a fullback available to throw to who was covered and nobody else.
Who was behind the line of scrimmage
Yep.
himself. So
there was a 4th and 3 play where his target clearly slipped, and did he panic a little bit? Yeah, he did. But there wasn't a lot of options at his disposal. And I think it's a good reminder that every time we do this with a backup quarterback battle, which has been seemingly every year for the past 4 or 5 years, it looks really bad, particularly when you get to the 3rd team. Because you are dealing with a really bad offensive line. You're dealing with receivers that haven't played a lot together. And you also have to remember that Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker have been swapping every single day. So, he's not getting Dominic Lovett every day. Sometimes he's getting Ronnie Bell. Sometimes he's getting Isaac Toslaw. And so there's a chemistry issue there. I am very eager to see Hendon Hooker with the 2s. I think it will look a lot better. It generally does look a lot better because you have a better offensive line, because you have better skill position players. And so to me, it's just like, it's an incomplete grade for Hendon Hooker. Everyone seems to be like, well, it's the same problems I saw last year. I can tell from 11 snaps that he hasn't grown at all. Let's see him play with some better players and see how it looks. If it continues to look a little hurried or panicky, which it did at times, I'm not going to lie, then you can show some real concern. But I've seen enough in 8 practices before this to see some legitimate progress that I think will look better when there's better talent around him.
Yeah, and I like you said, Jeremy, like, I think that's something that I took away when watching him play was, like, in the moment it looks bad, right? Like, that first pass to Dominic Lovett where he basically, like, airmails it and almost has it intercepted by the safety. It's like, okay, like, maybe early jitters, but then everything else after that, like, watching it live, the play of him in the offense just felt a little discombobulated, Ryan. And then it took for me a second rewatch of just the all 22 to really be able to dissect, okay, what is happening? Where are things actually breaking down? And that is where you see things that are kind of head scratching, where you're like, hey, why is he running a play to the left and only one receiver available? Or he's running a play to the right and there's only 2 options available. You really start to limit what he can do in those situations. But then you hear Dan talk after the game and he's breaking down like, hey, we liked how Hendon handled situations. We like how he was able to see the defense doing certain things and he checked to the right thing. Whether or not those things executed well is sure up for debate, but that's something for the coaching staff to work on him with and try to help him understand like, hey, if you're going to make this check, you have to execute it probably in this manner or check it to something different. But I think like Jeremy said, Ryan, I don't think this is something to necessarily like jump ship with if you're someone that's been kind of waiting on Hendon Hooker to kind of show some progress.
Yeah, I mean, they got an extra preseason game. That's like my other big takeaway. It's like this was I don't even want to call it gravy because that works against like the way that I'm using that word, but house money, right? Like you walked into this preseason game, it was an extra opportunity to get a little bit of exhibition and I mean, honestly, I think the Kyle Allen stuff was worse than the Hendon Hooker stuff. The first interception was really bad in my eyes. Like, that's just a ball that if you can't drive that on like a 15-yard out route, I mean, that cornerback safety had that ball dead to rights. Like that ball was intercepted before it even left his hand.
Yeah, it's wrong receiver too. Lovett was open on that play underneath.
Sure.
Should have hit him.
Yeah, the 3rd and 4 slide, like, is it the worst thing in the world? I think there's a little bit of an overreaction to that. Like, I saw Detroit starter currently throw the ball away on fourth down in a regular season game one time. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I will say the thing that I thought was particularly bad, and it's something that they talked about with Hendon last preseason, was remember the audible that Kyle Allen kill, and then he's trying to audible with like 4 or 5 seconds left on the play clock, and they had to burn a timeout. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like as far as like getting to the line, reading the defense, I think that's where Miko, you get that comment from Dan Campbell where it's like we saw some good things out of Hendon. Like, he maybe, didn't go through his progressions the best, but like he was making the right reads and he was making the right throws and the right decisions for the most part. But yeah, so that, I guess that's my other big takeaway is like, okay, like this game happened, we had these takeaways, but there's three more of them, and now you just need to see things improve. And I'm hard pressed, and nobody in the moment here right now can say that you're concerned that things aren't going to get better because things look pretty bad. So like I guess the bar is really low, and I have confidence in this coaching staff that things are going to improve.
Yeah, I struggle with even like having any concern level. Like you said, this is an extra preseason game. So like if you're coming out of that and like I'm concerned, I would really challenge that. Like, you're concerned with what exactly, or you're concerned with who exactly? Like, I don't think there was anyone that I came into that game with that I had such high expectations that their performance all of a sudden, like, I'm at concern level. I think there are guys that probably underperform based off of what we've heard, Jeremy, but like I don't think there should be any level of like great deal of concern when it comes down to, like, we're talking about like really like third and fourth string guys.
Not only that, like everyone is coming into this game cold, right? I think back to last season and remember how Jared Goff started the season? Like he was bad in the first 2 games of the season. And what did we all say? Just wait it out. It's September football. September football's bad. You know what's worse than September football? August football. You know what's worse than August football? July football.
July football is pretty bad.
July football's going to be bad. I'm sorry. Like, and so with guys like Hendon, with guys like Kyle Allen, these guys have not had a live rep in like 300 days, right? Like since last preseason, more 330 days, if you will. It's just like let them progress. Let them use these reps to get better instead of being like, hey, we got to go sign Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, calm down, relax for a second. I don't know if anyone's actually called for Ryan Fitzpatrick. That was just the first retired quarterback that came to my mind.
That was a wild pull. I guess the question too is like, how many snaps did Nate Sudfeld take last year for the Detroit Lions, right? Like, I mean, you were super upset, people, about Nate Sudfeld and how he looked in, the preseason games. I mean, there was no Nate Sudfeld to hurt you during the regular season, right?
Right.
I guess another big takeaway that I had was, and it was kind of spurred by what Jeremy just said. Are we going to see the starters at all? Like, just from the standpoint of, we had that conversation last year, those first 2 weeks, where it seemed like the offense was having a little bit of a difficult time getting things up to speed. With this extra preseason game, does that provide a runway for even like a series or two? Right. And I'm not trying to say, well, Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs do it all the time, so like you have to emulate them. We had that discussion last year when the Lions played the Chiefs in the preseason finale. But that's kind of like what I'm wondering moving forward is like, in one of these preseason games, are we going to see the quote unquote dress rehearsal?
Yeah, I know, like, first thing that comes to mind is like no, like that's the first thing I think, but when you ask the question, it does seem like it's a necessity, at least for certain players, because I think that was another, in a similar observation of yours, Ryan, like in looking at yesterday's games, like Tate Ratledge and Tyleik Williams both warmed up but neither played, right? And those are two young guys that you're expected to count on fairly heavily, so wouldn't it benefit them to get any kind of extra snaps even in an extra preseason game? Not saying that they had to get a ton. I mean, you didn't give Pat O'Connor that much, so I would be perfectly fine if you only gave Tyleik Williams 7, 8 snaps, but just to get his feet wet at the NFL level, just so he can kind of get those early jitters out of the way. But Jeremy, I think it is something that's worth asking, both in considering how the season started last year, but also in seeing how rusty the third and fourth units were. Like, do you want to just kind of maybe jump ahead of that with your first unit so that they don't have those same jitters come September?
The only starters I would actually consider are those two rookies that didn't play yesterday and the offensive line. The offensive line is the one where I'm like, you could maybe convince me of that because they need all the reps they can get. They need all the chemistry they can build between now and September 7th. But otherwise, I mean, you have the 3 joint practices that you're going to have. That's more valuable to me than a series. Because, like, I don't know. You get out there and you play 7 snaps, 10 snaps, 12 snaps if it's a good series. Does that really, oil the gears that much? What if you go 3 and out? Do you go back out there?
Yeah.
At what point do you pull that plug? At what point do you decide, well, those 10 snaps, now we're ready?
Yeah. It's a fair counterpoint, right? Like to just consider you're going to get a ton of work with other teams in the situations you want them to get work in, right? Because that's the other thing about those scrimmages that's so valuable, right? Jeremy is like, you can control the down and distance, the scenario, the whatever.
Yeah, there's
the intensity.
If you're playing 2 series, you never really get yourself into a rhythm. You're never going to try a 2-minute drill if you're playing 1 quarter of football, right?
Mm-hmm.
The situational stuff are just kind of random in a scrimmage or in a preseason game.
There's no guarantee that you're going to have a 15-play, 60-yard, 9.5-minute drive.
Hell yeah, baby. Lions football.
The last takeaway for me, Greg Reynolds does not need to be playing that much in a preseason game. Like by any measure of the imagination, Greg Reynolds should not be playing. Like he was playing an absurd amount, and he was getting the ball an absurd amount too. It was like
11 touches in the first half,
there was clearly a plan to be like Craig Reynolds is going to run the ball, but it's like, can't another running back run the ball? Like, why does that have to be Craig Reynolds? And you think about like how maybe shorthanded the Lions are at running back, and it's like, that doesn't dictate that Craig Reynolds needs the football that much.
It started out fun, like, oh hey look, Craig's making plays, and then it like slowly got to like, hey, can we just not keep giving the ball to Craig Reynolds?
As soon as he got hurt for a second when he fell on the ball, or I think that's what happened, right? I think that was the report, is that he got the wind knocked out of him, but you were just like, okay, like I know Craig Reynolds isn't like paramount to what this team is going to do this year, but also can we not do this to him when you have 2 running backs that are healthy, that are rostered right now? Like I understand one joined you 2 days ago and the other is Smalls, but at the same time, like
that's RB3.
Why not get Jabari? Like what are you losing by having Jabari Smalls out there in the first half?
Who also looked pretty good. Like it wasn't like he looked bad either. It was just like I'm with you, Ryan. That's a moment where things went from like, okay, this is kind of cool to see him making plays, to like, all right, are we just playing with fire just for the sake of playing with fire? And that's something that go ahead.
If you were just about to transition to a righteous felon, I apologize.
No.
Okay. I want to talk about another personnel decision that I thought was pretty curious, and that was Dan Skipper starting at left tackle, because I was really under the impression it was just going to be Giovanni Manu at left tackle, maybe the entire preseason. Like literally 60 snaps every single game, get him as many reps as possible. 1, because I think it's good for him. 2, because I kind of thought Dan Skipper maybe had OT3 lined up, or locked up, I should say. I'm curious what you guys make of that. Do you think Dan Skipper's job is maybe less safe than before, or was this just a matter of, again, like, hey, let's not overload Manu, let's have 2 full lines of tackles so that we're not overloading one person or another?
I think that's kind of my takeaway.
Yeah,
I think it's just like maybe too much is not a good thing, and is it the worst thing for Dan Skipper to get out there and grease the wheels?
I mean, if he rolls his ankle, which he did, and now you're like, okay, who's OT3 if that's something that bleeds into the regular season? That's why.
I don't know. I liked how Jamarco Jones looked.
He was okay.
I don't think the season hinges on Dan Skipper, I guess is my takeaway. Fair. It's like it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's fair. I think I lean more so to what you were saying at the beginning of that, Jeremy, where like I do think it's a little more of a competition than I think we realized. And maybe it became more of a competition just because Dan Skipper has kind of struggled this past week. And again, that's against Marcus Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson. So I don't know how much the coaching staff is holding that against him, but if nothing else, maybe it's just a morale boost, right? Like, hey, you've been getting whooped on by Marcus Davenport and Hutch all week. Go out here, play against some of these young guys, get some confidence back, get some swagger back, so that you can go into the next week's practices and at least have some good things to to lean your head on in terms of how you played. But at the same time, like I think if Manu has been progressing in the way that the coaching staff feels like he has been, then maybe it is more of a competition, and maybe they do want to split those snaps to be able to have Dan Skipper prove like, hey, are you that much better than this younger guy, or should we start putting more on Manu's plate, as we get closer to the regular season, kind of getting here.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick? Anything you were like genuinely disappointed with last night? Anything that like, man, that was a stick in my craw, other than the broadcast, because that was universally panned and awful. And the worst thing was the drop off from talking to Antonio Gates to Jared Allen. Jared Allen might be one of my least favorite football players of all time. So.
You didn't like the 5 minutes of mullet talk while I'm trying to see who's in at right guard?
Yeah, right. And especially when you're gonna, speak down about Jaromir Jagr, because it's like, oh, it's expected. It's like, no, he was a trendsetter. But anything you guys genuinely like disappointed in, like football wise?
I was a little disappointed in Kingsley Egwakin's play. I had much higher expectations going in. Like that's probably one of the other players that I had a really high expectation on, and it was fairly evident from like the first couple of offensive snaps that like he was just not up to the par that I thought he was. And then going back and watching the all 22 tape, it's like, oh, it's much worse than I thought it was, even from what I saw on the live broadcast. Like just didn't quite show the physicality that you're expecting from someone that I was hoping could be that backup center behind Graham in a situation where you're not trying to put Tate as like the backup at center, right? And so for me, Jeremy, like that was probably the one thing that had me genuinely disappointed football wise.
Yeah, no, I said on Pride Detroit Direct yesterday that he had a rough start and then he leveled out nicely. I retract that statement after watching the All-22. He did struggle quite a bit. And it was like the very first snap, he lets a guy through. Poor Craig Reynolds has to kick it outside, and that makes Shane Zylstra look like the bad guy because Shane Zylstra is blocking from the inside. He kicks it outside. He has to hold him. Gets called for the holding penalty, and the first drive is basically already dead on the very first play, mainly because of Kingsley. It did not get better. And I think like it's a good thing to point out too, because now we're talking about a legitimate backup center competition, and I don't know who the front runner is anymore. Is it Tate Ratledge? Are they going to continue to give him reps enough where they're going to feel comfortable sliding him over if something happens to Graham? Is it Egwakin? Is it Colin, who I was very surprised to see be the center for the entire second half, because the way things had been going in training camp, it was Nice's turn. And so is Nice out of that competition? Do they just want to see what Nice does at guard? Did they just need an extra guard? I don't really know the answer to that question, and I don't love not having an easy answer to who the team's backup center is, because oddly enough, that has not been a problem with this team for a very long time. Like if it wasn't Frank, it was Graham. If it wasn't Frank before Graham was here, it was that guy who went to Seattle. What was his name?
Evan Brown.
Evan Brown, right. Like they've actually done a relatively good job covering their ass when it comes to a backup center. Right now, I don't feel that same security, so I think that's a really good point to make.
Ryan, anyone that you were genuinely disappointed in?
I don't think that. I mean, just for a play, and like I guess that kind of runs counter to like the idea of being genuinely disappointed, but it did hurt a little bit to see Ennis get burned on that one play where he tried to put his hands on somebody who wasn't there and who slipped inside him on that route. And again, but it's like Trey Lance put a great ball on him. He got beat. It's something where it's like, I have really high hopes for the guy. And I remember, if you want to rewind the tape all the way back to the week 1 of the preseason against the Giants last year, Ennis Rakestraw looked incredible. Like he, lined up against
Hmm.
some league neighbors, like stayed step for step with him, played some pretty darn good
Right.
football. And it's like you didn't really get to see a lot of him during the season because of the injury. And
Yeah, that's
then,
kind of the last time he played. Because
yeah, right.
he
I
only
mean,
played in that preseason game, by the way. Like, he was injured
yep.
the rest of training camp.
Yeah. And so it was like, okay, I'm hoping to see this guy just show up and, I don't know, break up a pass, pick off a ball, make a play in the run game, kind of some of the things that Rocky Ya-Sin did.
Yeah.
And it didn't really happen. So, but again, it's just 1 week and it was one play. And I think Ennis Rakestraw is a better cornerback than that. So dust the
Yeah,
hands
and I
off
think
and walk away.
yeah, I think Ennis also I think he still showed enough, like in terms of just like play recognition, being able to like fill when it came down to run plays. He didn't always make like the tackle when he got there, but he at least had the instincts there. And I know that's something that this coaching staff will always kind of lean towards. Like if guys can at least put themselves in position, like they can shore up the other things. They can clean up tackling. They can clean up certain technique things. And so that's again, I said at the beginning, like that's one of the things that I think people have to keep in mind when it comes to these preseason games is that it's still an opportunity to clean things up and continue to get better. But that's something that you never have to worry about with Righteous Felon Beef Jerky because they are always performing at a 10 out of 10 level. Like, absolutely some of the best jerky that you will absolutely get out there. And the Pride of Detroit podcast is brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. It's the jerky that fuels the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Each 2 ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein, and each stick has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for the Lions, it's going to be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They use locally sourced all natural black Angus beef and prides itself on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. I talked about last time how I went and got the Marilyn Monroe. That's gone. That's already gone. I gave the wife a little bit of it, and she is a tag team effort. All right, we pretty much took care of that back, but I still got jerky left. Right, I got Garlic here, which I kind of had to get this just off of the name alone. I still got some Soul Survivor. I still got some bootleg barbecue, and I have enough like Foul Capone turkey beef sticks to like last me for a while. So like I'm already stocked up. I hope you guys are just as stocked up when it comes down to your favorite jerkies as well. Um, and if you want to get stocked up, all you got to do is go to righteousfelon.com and use the promo code POD20 at checkout to get 20% off your order. That's promo code POD20 at righteousfelon.com. And when we come back, we're going to continue this talk about the Lions Hall of Fame game, talk about some other players that specifically stuck out to us, specifically a wide receiver that the Lions drafted, or a couple of the wide receivers that the Lions drafted, as well as a pass rusher that I think everybody really got to see him kind of show off some of his ability. So we're going to get into that and a whole lot more when we come right back.
All right. Nicely done. It's kind of wild we didn't talk about Isaac Toslaw that entire time, but I'm glad you teased it in there so people weren't yelling. We also have to take care of this. We didn't get around to it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Our nominees.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got this idea. Should we do it? Maybe we lead off the next segment with it. I run the poll during the segment, and then at the end of the segment, announce the results.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, we can do that.
We've decided we're going to. First of all, I owe a thanks to, I won't give the person's full name, but Brandon, who sent the T-Pain Jack in the Box air freshener that we talked about, I don't know, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I haven't opened it enough to smell what it actually smells like, but sent it to our P.O. box, which was very kind of them because we were fascinated by it. But do you have the name of it right? Whatever name you came up with, we're basically like almost like a turnover chain, essentially. We're going to award this to the player of the game every week, but you guys are going to vote on it. We're going to each present a candidate. Probably Twitch chat will vote on it, and then in the podcast itself we'll announce the winner.
Yeah. This week it's the Big Buford T-Pain Player of the Week.
The thing that's hilarious about that is that we've combined 2 different food franchises for this sport because Big Buford is Checkers.
That's true.
And the T-Pain thing is coming from Jack
in the Box.
Yep. Yeah. Don't worry.
I am aware.
We're eventually going to come around to the caramel apple empanada T-Pain player of the week. We'll get around there.
Yes.
Don't worry.
So you are also mixing in what is one of my favorite clips of all time from a documentary series or documentary about the Dana Carvey show.
Yeah.
Because the Dana Carvey show used to have a different sponsor every week. And there is a clip out there of a promo of like, hey, coming up this Friday.
On Home Improvement.
This very like serious Home Improvement sketch where one of the kids is like, am I going to die, Dad? And you're going to be okay, man. We're going to beat this, whatever this is. And they're just like, a very important Home Improvement, followed by the Diet Mug Root Beer Dana Carvey show. And they show it to everyone who was part of the original cast of the Dana Carvey show, which was Dana Carvey, Stephen Colbert, Stephen Carell. Like, it was a crazy, ridiculous cast.
And all of them are like
They're
beside
just
themselves
dying.
with like how awful that was layered.
Yes, I was gonna play it, but that was I'm just like, I don't want to get copyright struck for anything. So, just was it Too Funny to Fail?
Yeah.
Is that what it's from? I don't remember. Something like that. It's the name of the
Look it up.
documentary. I would recommend it either way. Anyways, so when we start the next segment, we'll each have our. Ryan, I'm gonna have to throw it to you because I'm always gonna forget what the name of it is.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
I
I am
got it.
too. So
Yeah, it's all you.
I'll take that.
too
I mean,
ridiculous.
I wanted that responsibility, so I'll
Great.
take it.
There are also a couple things like that happened this week that I'm like, should we talk about it on the podcast? Should we talk about it on the podcast break? Should we do another podcast before the next preseason game and talk about these things? And I probably should have asked you this instead of literally bring it up in the middle of a break, but do we want to talk about Anzalone or Inside the Den? Or do you want to save that or not at all?
I'm good not talking about either because the Anzalone thing feels so insignificant unless you want to make it into something bigger.
I think
What do you mean by that?
Like, kind of like what I put in Slack, where I was like, it's an insignificant amount of money in terms of like how much they're giving him, but if you want to like, throw theories out there, I feel like you could be like, this kind of shows that they're not looking to keep him long term. Like, they're doing enough to pacify him for now, but it's also like hey, we'll throw you this, but we're probably going to be parting ways after the regular season. And I feel like, but that's purely speculation, right? Like it
is speculation, but it does feel it does feel right? Like, I mean, they basically gave him nothing. I know the cynics out there will be like, oh, I'll take $1 million. Okay, I get it. But that's not what he was looking for, right? He wants to get paid double digits like some of these other linebackers, not get a bump from $6 million to $7 million.
Yeah. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about it right now. Let's talk about it right here.
Okay.
Little chat exclusive. Alex Anzalone. My take from the Anzalone stuff has not really changed. This team is young and good, and this is the cost of being young and good and needing to pay players. And don't get me wrong, Alex Anzalone has come a long way since the Lions signed him, right? Like, he was the injury-prone linebacker from Florida that,
Barely a starter, right?
yeah, barely a starter in New Orleans, got an opportunity here, progressively got better and better and better. If you remember when he signed his last contract, there were so many people that were up in arms about it. Like, I can't believe you're giving this much money to this guy, because he still wasn't at a point where you thought he was a core player to the defense. I think I would still argue that Alex Anzalone, and from the way that the Lions are handling this, that Alex Anzalone is not a core player to this defense. They made a decision. Like, it's easy to make that decision to sign Derek Barnes, right? Like, Derek Barnes, like, it's like now or never, right? Like, you have to pay the guy.
Mm-hmm.
They also, how long had they been looking for a Sam linebacker? They couldn't find someone to play Sam linebacker. They finally found someone like Derek Barnes. Okay.
Who presumably can play it. We haven't really seen it yet, though.
Well, I was gonna say, like at worst, plays Sam linebacker for you, but also has the versatility to
That's
play
true.
Will.
To play Will, right?
Yes,
And
that
a
is
guy
fair.
who is in, I put him off the ball, right? And but then we're coming back to this discussion that there were so many people who were upset when the Lions drafted Jack Campbell at 18th because they were like, well, Alex Anzalone is the middle linebacker. You're going to draft an off-ball linebacker at 18. Well, you can't be upset at that and then be upset that the Lions aren't willing to pay an off-ball linebacker
Right.
who is 31 years old, right? Like that's I want to see Alex Anzalone do great. So like my thing was they can't pay everybody. Alex realizes that playing this year in Detroit is his best option to get a contract that will pay him handsomely
Yeah.
in free agency,
In New York,
right?
just say
You know what? I hope it happens.
it.
I hope it
Alex
happens.
Anzalone to the Jets.
I feel so bad for the guy. He's just like, yeah, you're just going to be our culture resetter. You're going to be the guy that rebuilds, and then once we're good enough to actually compete for a championship, see you later, bud.
It's tough. Like he doesn't play a premium position.
Yeah.
Yeah. LJ, I think by not giving him another year, like I think you're hoping that both Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell's continued growth helps fill that void. So it's not necessarily like I think Derek Barnes would still end up playing the will, but they would probably give more coverage responsibilities to Jack as his coverage skills develop. Like
Yeah.
between him and Derek Barnes, I think Jack Campbell's the better coverage guy, but I don't think either of them are yet at the Alex Anzalone level
Yeah.
just yet.
And the Lions, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, but they like playing with three linebackers on the field. Like
Yeah.
they're totally cool with that.
Yep.
But I think, yeah, they have Grant Stewart. They have, Malcolm Rodriguez will come back. But like, I'm not saying that any of these guys are like one-to-one replacements. I'm not gonna don't get that twisted at all whatsoever.
Mhm.
But like, Alex's position is kind of like the third guy. And if it's not Derek Barnes lining up at Sam, to Miko's point, like Derek Barnes line up at the will. And it's like you have Jack and you have Derek. Like you can't I don't think you can afford to pay three linebackers when you're gonna have to pay Brian Branch. You're gonna have to pay still have to pay Aiden Hutchinson and like James Lyons should get a contract. Like
the financial part is really hard to square, but I think you're a little bit underestimating his impact. Like I think not having him next year is going to be significant, even if Derek Barnes takes a step, because you also might be without Malcolm Rodriguez, right? He's entering the final year of his contract. Maybe because he's coming off an ACL, you can get him cheaper. And listen, Brad Holmes is in the very hard position of you have to get cheaper, younger, and better. And it's very hard to do all three of those things because you're going to take a step back somewhere. You're going to overpay someone or get a little bit older, or you're going to get younger and worse. Like that's what's going to. I just think linebacker suddenly becomes a pretty significant need in 2026, and we can worry about tomorrow's problems tomorrow. But looking forward, like what looked to be a pretty solid linebacking crew that was young, deep, and relatively cheap is now going to look a lot different in 2026. And I think Brad is going to have to work some magic in the draft to make sure that unit doesn't take a significant step back.
And I probably misspoke when I said that like just like Derek and Jack can kind of like cover for Anzalone. I do think it goes back to more so what Ryan is saying in regards to like everyone on that defense can kind of cover for an Alex, like because you do have a Brian Branch, because you do have a Kirby Joseph, like you can start to play a different style of like matchmaking football where however you want to, like whoever you want to have on that player that you feel like, oh, this is typically who we would, slot Alex to cover. Well, why can't that be Brian Branch? Why can't that be Amik Robertson? Why can't that be Ennis Rakestraw Jr.? Like, right? Like you start to be able to just, the more players you continue to collect, to your point, Jeremy, the more young, talented players you collect, you do just start to shuffle the responsibilities of who is
right. You can play
tasked
more
with
nickel.
those specific roles.
Play more nickel, and then you'll have two linebackers on, and those two linebackers are Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell. I think that's a smart way to look at it too. Is okay, you have to
numbers game
financially. You have to shuffle the deck a little bit. So what does that mean for our overall scheme? Where are our strengths and where are our weaknesses now?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you put it the right way, though. Like, tomorrow's problems are tomorrow's problems. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's going to be easy to find a replacement for him, but I do think that Alex Anzalone's return in week 18 when the defense needed anything hit like crack.
Right.
Like,
yes.
So
Yes.
that may have heightened how important people thought Alex Anzalone is in a way that is a bit disproportionate.
Yeah. That's fair. All right.
So
Before we
since tomorrow's problem,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, since tomorrow's problems are tomorrow's problems, then we can just go out and get Micah Parsons, then, right? Like that's
That's right. That's right.
you don't have to worry about how it works.
Here's
Just go
the
out and
thing.
get him.
He's
I don't have to abide by your rules.
He's gonna sign an extension in Dallas, right? Like, it's just drama. It's typical Jerry Jones drama.
I hope it's drama. Like, what did you make of his like statement? You think that's just like all posturing?
Two things. One, don't screenshot one statement 3 times and then have them overlap each other. It makes it very hard to read.
He's an edge rusher,
and
not a content creator.
I mean,
Yeah, he
it's,
needed
it's,
an editor for that note.
it's very
Makes you
strong
tap the
language.
glass. Very
It's
strong.
Very strong language to say, I don't want to be a Dallas Cowboy anymore. But I almost think that's just the playbook now. I kind of think it's just the Trey Hendrickson of like, I don't like my team anymore. All right, fine, I'll play. Like
Instagram story, I'm on my way to Florida.
right.
I mean, yes, but I also think I think it's one thing to do that, and then I think it's another thing though to be like, also my owner tried to do some shady negotiating by like not talking to my agent at all. Like
that
I think
that is a very shocking story.
Like
I mean, I'm
the
sorry,
practices, right? Yeah.
not a shocking story because it's Jerry Jones, but in the overall scheme of like ownership talking to a player and assuming he's negotiating directly with the player and that they've worked out a framework of a deal without talking to his agent, that is cuckoo bananas behavior that I guess we should probably expect from Jerry Jones.
well then to refuse to talk to the agent when it's like, hey, just like, share this stuff up with my agent and be like, yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. But
I mean, there's some stuff in here that definitely feels like posturing, and also like, my agent informed me I should wait for other deals to get done because the price would only go up, but I didn't care. And I wanted to secure myself as a Dallas Cowboy long term. It's like
that I'm
all
like,
right.
okay, I don't
Okay.
believe you.
Are you saying right here you were going to take a home team discount? Like,
That's certainly what it
come
sounds.
on.
For an owner that you feel is disrespecting you, you're like, I don't care. I want to be here. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
kind of pulled one out of the Alex Anzalone playbook. I want to retire a Lion.
That's pandering to the fan base right there.
Yeah,
I did find CD's response hilarious though, because like, how many people do you
CD
think reached out to CD and be like, hey, shh, like, let Micah be in trouble by himself?
Yeah, don't get me all. I already got my deal done. Like, don't get me wrapped up in this.
I'm still baffled. Again, shouldn't be baffled because it's Jerry Jones. But when he was asked about the pay Micah chants, and he was just like, well, CD's chants were a little bit louder last year. Are you stupid? Like, what are you doing?
He could get into a car accident. He
What
could
did you put on Twitter today?
I said he could spontaneously combust and become the Human Torch and give up football forever for a greater purpose. That could happen, and you paid him all that money, Jerry.
But I mean, this is how it went with Dak. This is how it went with CD. It's just gonna get done.
But remember when they paid Dak?
Yeah.
Hours before
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Week 1. Yeah. It's an insane way to do business, but it's high drama. I do wonder. Someone threw it out there on Twitter. I do wonder if it's just like, I want to be in the news, baby. Let me just stir the pot because we're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
I feel like I should have had my cowboy hat on when I was saying that.
Yeah.
I guess the only reason I could see a deal get done is because I don't think there's a price that anyone's like. I don't think Jerry really wants to sell. Like, I think that's more so what it is because I feel like the ego of Jerry Jones, like him selling Micah Parsons, is almost like him admitting that he lost. And I don't think Jerry Jones can handle that. I think like his ego is just too big to be like, I lost. I lost in negotiations to a player.
Yeah. Detroit. I mean, got a point. Myles Garrett said goodbye to Cleveland. Said he wanted to go win. Then he ended up in Cleveland.
Right. Like a week later.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, I guess there are enough zeros for anyone to be like, all right.
Oh yeah.
I guess I
am happy here. I guess I do like Cleveland.
Huh.
I have a different view of Jerry Jones that I think other people also share of Jerry Jones. That I would be like, that would be my reason for being like, no, I'm out.
Right.
Like, but there's this many zeros, and it's like, yeah, but I know how you really feel about me.
Right. Yeah. That's
commas cure all, you know.
Ryan, we got you to talk about Micah Parsons.
That's how good of a host I am.
All right, let me get to some alerts, and then if we want, we can talk some Inside the Den or whatever anyone wants.
We'll go away.
Are you actually rubbing it?
Yeah.
Duck Lion, thank you for the 29 months subscribed on Twitch. Roof, thank you for following on Twitch. Q Note, thank you for the 8 months subscribed on Twitch. Says, I don't care what the Hall of Fame game looked like. I missed real football. So do we. I'm glad that I'm like, it feels like I'm regaining a like muscle memory going through a game day of like tweeting and updating the live blog and writing down notes and doing the PODD post game video.
I still have not mastered the whole like watching the game and tweeting thing. I can do one or the other. Can't do both.
I was scrambling yesterday because I had everything planned out in my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch the game on my TV. I'm just going to use the digital antenna because one, that's ahead of like every cable or streaming broadcast, and I like being ahead of everything on Twitter. And I'm going to have the game on YouTube TV and my tablet so that I can rewind and watch plays. I haven't used my tablet in like 3 months. And so for the entire first quarter, it was just updating software.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, shit, I blew this. But I got into a little bit of a rhythm where I was rewinding and recording highlights on my phone and tweeting them. And I was just like, I kind of like covering games from home a little bit sometimes. It's nice.
Yeah. I was envious of Ryan. Ryan was killing it as far as like tweeting and watching the game. I'm like, I can't keep up.
Yeah, the thing that changed it this year was I have a second laptop now. So like just having a second laptop because I'll tell you what, the second laptop did really one thing. Command F because I had the Lions roster pulled up and I was like, the numbers were
61.
killing me. Yeah.
I really struggle with the defensive line still. I've been watching these guys for a week and a half and there's some new guys there where I'm just like 66. I don't know.
So that happened. I kept getting Keith Cooper and Miles Adams mixed up.
Yes. Yep. And I even throw Raekwon in there as well. Where just those three are one person to me right now. And it's not fair.
Kind of feel like I want to quiz you guys right now.
Please don't.
I'll try my luck.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, right.
64 is Keith Cooper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is 66 Miles Adams?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then 67 is Raekwon? Or is he 76?
76.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else I think I have down. It took me the longest with Ennis. Ennis and 9 just did not work for me.
Yeah, at first I was like, man, whoever that corner was got beat bad. I was like, oh, damn, it was Ennis.
The safeties had me probably like the worst. I was like, kept trying to figure out like, wait, which safety was that? I mean, except for Dan Jackson, that was pretty easy. But
Just say no. 27 and 28. Say you got them confused. It's fine. Everyone did.
I was paying attention to hue. I could tell by pigment who was who.
No melanin.
I'm not going to out the beat writer, but someone approached the wrong person.
Nope.
Or it was someone got an interception in practice and they approached. They're like, "Hey, tell me about that interception." You're like, "Oh, you got the wrong white." I don't think he said you got the wrong white safety, but that was the message.
Man.
Oh wow.
It happens. I mean, it was especially, it's like the first week of training camp too, where it's just like, okay, we're still learning numbers. It's okay.
I gotta tell you too, like one of my least favorite things from last night was like Grant Stewart as a linebacker wearing number 15.
Really?
I don't like it at all.
Did it remind you too much of oh god, who was the veteran last year? Didn't he wear 15 too?
Oh, was it Raekwon McMillan?
No.
Oh, you mean for the Lions that wore 15
Yeah.
last year? I thought Ennis
Alexander?
wore 15 last year.
What? Oh, it was Ennis, wasn't it?
It wasn't Raekwon McMillan.
Yeah,
Quan
Alexander
Alexander.
wore 10 last year.
10, okay.
Gosh, Raekwon McMillan, what a pull, Ryan. Yeah, no. Not a fan of the teen numbers for linebackers.
Yeah.
See, I'm that way
That's
with
fair.
DBs because seeing whoever the corner was that was just getting cooked last night.
DiCaprio, Boodle.
Yeah, 17. I was like, that's a horrible number for a corner because you look like you're a receiver masquerading as a corner right now.
Yeah. Chat Ian Kennelly and Dan Jackson. Just so we're clear.
Mm-hmm.
Some people weren't picking up what we were putting down there. Let me get through some more alerts here. Rebuilding since 1957, 23 months, says SOL. And I can't tell because your name is what it is, rebuilding since 1950. I can't tell if you're being ironic or not. But I hope you're not. I hope you are. Captain James Kirk, 49 months, subscribed, says I finally submit a question by replying to my PODD email. And there was no midweek mailbag. We were going to record it today. We're going to record it very bright and early tomorrow morning. The PODD midweek mailbag will be in your inbox by tomorrow. I promise. Frogbark, 12 months, subscribed to the channel. Full year, says football is back, go Loins. Ask a bum. I tried to make it one word. Ask a bum. Thank you for the $5 super chat on YouTube. Says, Raiders fan here who adopted the Lions as my second team. I really believe that the Raider Lion fan base is very similar. Misfits and outlaws and all that. I don't know what I feel about being compared to a Raiders fan. I guess I don't hate it.
I think I better like the comparison to being like the mid-2000s New Jersey Nets. Like that comparison better that you shared, Jeremy. Do you remember sharing that?
No.
It's like the email where
yes.
you got compared to like Richard Jefferson.
Yeah.
Like,
Mika was
actually,
Jason
like,
Kidd.
not a bad compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one better.
But this is just comparing the Lions fan base in general. Do you think we have a lot in common with the Raiders? I mean,
In terms of passion, probably. I would probably say that.
I don't know. They've been relocated so many times. Like,
right. They've gone through
Does
that
Raider
extra
Nation
level
travel
of
well?
stress. Yeah. Well, they travel well in Southern California.
I was gonna say, so like that's the only parallel that I could probably see between the two.
Yeah.
Is like lately, obviously, like since the Lions have gotten better.
A Raiders Chargers game played in LA will be like 80% Raiders fans.
That's fair.
I mean, the Lions did relocate technically. Big drive from Pontiac to Detroit.
Oh, I thought you were going to pull the Portsmouth card. Go all the way back there.
Yeah, you remember? Everybody remembers when that happened, where they were.
Right. We don't kiss our players on the top of the head. I need to know everything about that. Where's the Pablo Torre episode on that incident? I need it right now.
I fingers crossed that Pablo's just working it right now, really
Because
hard. I need those clips explained.
Have
you seen the clips
No.
of Christian Wilkins like during plays?
Well, I've seen the mic'd up stuff. I love him, and I'm like, I'm judging his entire personality on his mic'd up thing, and I'm like, oh, he was probably just like being super nice, and like maybe he crossed a physical barrier that he shouldn't have, but like he wasn't trying to embarrass or sexually harass or anything like this. Like, I'm trying to justify this knowing nothing about the player other than what I've seen in mic'd up, which is a terrible way to judge someone.
So I don't know if you're talking about I didn't think I see the clips, but I saw like someone took like screen grabs of like Christian Wilkins like in like pileups where he is like clearly reaching for things.
Putting his hands on things that he should not be putting his hands on.
See, I didn't hear any of this.
And like it's fairly consistent. Like I think even going back to Clemson.
There was a play like with Josh Allen where like they're at the bottom of a pile and like I'm not going to mince words, but like there's a reach around and Josh Allen just gets fired up and it's like, well, I think I know what happened under that pile. And then there's another one where he just like straight up walks by and like digs in, and it's like, all right, there's a pattern of behavior here.
I weirdly know people like that though. I'm not justifying the behavior, but like I know people that are like they get weird around like, you know, like sack tapping people, you know, shit like that. I'm sure you've had friends that did dumb shit like that when they were kids.
Okay, yeah, but like there's an
100%.
age, like I think we all age out at a certain point where you're just like, hey,
no,
you know,
100%.
It was funny.
Yes.
I think it was Bam.
I turned that
Margera.
around. You guys were giving me real weird looks for a second there.
hey, because I was trying to figure out like who on the beat is here.
No.
Jeremy's like, hey, boys will be boys in the locker room.
No.
Yeah, no, it was funny. There was a clip that Bam Margera was talking about, like things that were funny when I was like 16. Like,
right.
I'm not allowed to think they're funny anymore because I'm supposed to be like a grown up, like adult, like.
But that jackass culture is like the perfect example where they're just like doing a bunch of shit to each other,
and they're like,
butts and genitals.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's something. You went with the medical term.
That's right. Butts and genitals.
Butts is very medical.
That's
like,
right.
But I mean, I think that's like a problem also in like football culture, right? Where like you hear defensive and offensive linemen talk about that, where they're just like, oh, like the worst things possible happen under piles. Yeah. So like the thing with Christian Wilkins is like, okay, so is Christian Wilkins a creep or is he just a part of football culture? Like the really disgusting part of football culture that exists, but that everybody hates.
Yeah, it's very weird. I didn't know any aspect of that. And now I have a completely different outlook on it.
I mean, it's between those things, and then I think people are running back his splits after the national championship, which I'm like, I didn't feel great about it when he did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang. Well, that's disappointing because if you haven't seen his mic'd up stuff, it's fantastic.
Now you're gonna start looking at it in a different light. Like, is he just making passes?
Maybe. It's just like my favorite one is always gonna be the same one where he's trying to act tough to a guy. He's like, "I'm about to get you. I'm about to get this. You're about to get this." And then he goes, and the other guy goes, "You're about to get this." He says, "No, don't say that. No, I'm not scared of you."
I just sent you guys the little mashup that I found.
Do I want to play this on stream? I don't think I do.
I don't know. You don't have to, especially because like the middle stuff is all just like him dancing after the national championship game.
I saw one and I'm done. I don't need to see anymore.
You saw the first one though, right?
The very first one, and I'm done. I'm out. I'm out.
Like that's not good.
No,
Like just
no,
skip to the end though and watch the Josh Allen one
no. I can't. Can you even skip on Instagram reel?
on your phone. Yeah, use the little bar along the bottom.
I've hit my limit on
Yeah, that first one
Instagram
is
time.
excessive.
No, I don't want to follow Ryan.
JC, I thought like the Clemson one, it does look like he smells his hand afterwards.
Ew.
Legit does. So, inside the den. Speaking of being inside things.
Let me get through the alerts and then this is not where I expected this break to go. Detroit Dennis, thank you for the 12-month subscribe. Says Jalen Reeves Maben is JC Tretter's stooge. His name has come up like there was a third episode, and I'll be honest, like that one got a little. I don't know if you've watched the Pablo Torre third episode about even more stuff for the FBI potentially getting involved. It wasn't as intriguing to me, and it started to get a little muddled. But Jalen Reeves Maben's name does get brought up quite a bit.
Oh,
Not in like an accusatory way, but I mean
Sure.
he's the NFLPA president. He's part of the story. Motor City Pride, thank you for subscribing over on YouTube. Appreciate that. 10 bits from Captain James Kirk says, I legitimately thought for a moment that the Lions were trying to showcase him as a trade suitor. I didn't get why Craig got so many touches.
they're not trading Craig Reynolds.
No, I don't think so.
Sione Vaki isn't healthy right now.
But he's close. He had
close.
returned to practice, so I think maybe we see Vaki a little bit on Friday. Friday, right?
Yeah. Also, I don't know what the market is for
An
Craig
RB3.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
I'll DM Bill Barnwell. He'll get back to me. I'm never gonna
Do you
let
guys
it
think
go.
there's anything Vaki can kind of do at this point to like close that gap between him and Craig Reynolds? Because like,
Play.
but like even if he plays though, like, do you think anything's actually going to like?
I mean, it's hard to say because like there's also not that big of a difference between the RB3 and the RB4 role, right? Like both those guys are just going to play a bunch of special teams, so who cares? I mean, is there an official RB3 and an official RB4? I mean, obviously you'd see one if one of the top guys gets hurt, but
Yeah, I just like in watching Craig play again when it was like, oh, this is fun and he looks like he's making really good plays. It also kind of set in where it was just like, yeah, I don't know what Sione Vaki would have to do
right.
to like supplant him at this point because Craig Reynolds looks every bit like of an RB3 where you're just like, oh no, I'd be comfortable if he had to fill in for Jameer or Monty for a couple games and you'd be like, oh no, this is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. The only difference though is like that run that he had, Jameer would have scored.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
For sure, right? Like
There were also some.
such
yeah.
a perfectly blocked run, by the way. And he just had to make a second guy miss. He made the first guy miss.
There were a lot of plays last night where I was like, mostly on defense, where like Trey Lance was like scrambling around, and it looked like the Lions defenders were almost like running in like swamps, and I'm like, what? Like, guys, be faster. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Trey Lance was a running quarterback at North Dakota State, like
Right.
knows how to get away from guys.
Yeah. LJ, thank you for the 62-month subscribe. Dang, 62 months. Holy cow. Captain James Kirk 10 bits says playing with fire. You know what else is playing with fire? Not using code POD15 to order Righteous Felon.
Well,
POD20,
be
sir.
using POD20.
I mean, you can use POD15 if
I mean,
you
only
want.
right. POD20 gets you extra 5%.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get any kickbacks from that, so use it all. POD20.
Sure. Limited time, too. Got to get it in before the regular season starts. So you got a month or so. Update your command then? I probably should. I haven't updated any of our commands in a while. You got to listen to the read. Silver Rush, thank you for the 27-month subscribe. Says go Lions. AP Durag, 16-month subscribe to the channel. Says I went to school with Ian Kennelly. Been a dog since Shelby Jr. Hi. What y'all think of his play? It was up and down yesterday.
Had that really cool play with Ezekiel Turner.
Great
Yeah.
power bomb.
The power bomb or whatever it
The
was.
spine buster. Yeah.
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 I think
Shades of Captain Insano.
that's right. I think I've seen enough out of Ian Kennelly in training camp to believe that he is worth keeping around to just see where that goes. Because he does have like that fearlessness of a safety that you need, where you're just like, I don't understand how people have it, where it's just like you are going to jump into every pile, you are going to like spearhead your way into a play that he can play in the box, and he's got plenty of athletic tools too. So, I mean, I'm still very intrigued by him. Obviously, a pretty tough road to make this roster where he's at right now, but I think he's a very good candidate to stick around on practice squad. And Biad 3100 bits says, rumor has it Pablo Torre finds out episode is coming about the podcast lineup change. Then he did later say, like, I'm kidding, Miko, you're killing it. So
I also said that would be the shortest and also probably like most uninteresting episode for sure. Yeah, sorry, Austin. I do have a bookshelf over there, but it's nothing interesting.
all right, I'll refund that. We do have a request from Madi Tuhati to use Chat GPT on something. Are you still here, Madi?
Did they request something?
They requested a Chat GPT ask something, but I never get to see what the actual request was. So if you're around, throw it in there. Oh, there you are. What do you want? What NFL team would make the most sense to trade for Micah Parsons?
Oh. Any guesses who you think it'll be?
Well, I see the answers on my screen now.
I thought there was a Wilkins joke in there, Austin. after I read what he redeemed.
ChatGPT.
I just thought I was immature.
If Micah Parsons ends up being traded, a scenario increasingly discussed amid his contract standoff, several teams stand out as logical fits due to championship window, salary cap flexibility, and defensive needs. The Chargers, with Joey Bosa aging and Khalil Mack nearing retirement, Chargers desperately need a pass rush talent.
Joey Bosa doesn't play for the Chargers anymore. Joey Bosa plays for the Bills.
Well, tell that to ChatGPT, who is sourcing something from December 2024.
Well,
Bad AI.
slightly outdated.
The Baltimore Ravens, their edge rotation lacks consistent pressure after losses like Clowney, Parsons alongside Roquan Smith and Kyle Van Noy. Is he still with the Ravens? Did he go to the Ravens?
Van Noy, yes. I think he just got an extension. Didn't he get an extension this offseason?
Maybe. The Chicago Bears. History repeats. They acquired Khalil Mack to accelerate a rebuild. They've got... Wait, hold on. Did they ever complete that rebuild? They've got a they've got young offensive potential, but they need a defensive cornerstone, and only a blockbuster acquisition like Parsons could shift them quickly. The Eagles' proximity to Parsons' hometown and the need for a dominant edge rusher make this a hypothetical match. Reports floated a package involving Nolan Smith plus picks. Oh, you are you saying you can't just do Nolan Smith for Mike Parsons straight up? That's not going to work?
Again, we'll have to get back to Bill Barnwell for a comment on this. How many picks will it take, Bill?
Another pass rush needy team is the Buffalo Bills. Analysts speculated a trade scenario where Dallas receives a proven running back, tight end, and first-round pick. Bills need pressure to elevate their playoff ceiling. There you go.
I will say I'm looking at the article now. Bill Barnwell says that it would take 2 first-round picks and more to acquire
2 first-round picks. And
Micah Parsons.
Sure, why not?
I mean, at a minimum, yeah.
How funny was it today that Terry McLaurin was announced as the 52nd player in the top 100 the day after he requested the trade?
I didn't see that. That is funny.
Hope he goes to an AFC team. That's all I want.
So presumably on that list we have Goff left, we have Amon-Ra left, we have Jameer left, and we have Panay left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of think Jameer might be the highest rated.
Yeah.
I feel like it
I
should
would think
be
so.
Panay. I mean, he was our number one player in our 1 through 90 ranking, I think unanimously. But why? I don't know why we all just easily, readily agreed that Jameer is going to be higher than him on this list. I guess positional value.
Positional value.
Well, not
and...
not even positional value. It's
sorry.
positional. Well, I said positional value, but I think I mean more like positional fame.
Yeah, recognition, like across
Recognition,
the league,
yeah.
where it's like he's the young player that has kind of gone from like top 10 probably at his position to like he's now top 3.
Yeah, that's true. So what is he? You think he'll crack like the top 15?
I think he'll be top 20.
What
I
did
think
Panay
he'll be
get
top
last year?
20. Panay was 22, and Amon-Ra was 23.
So yeah,
Amon-Ra
I
could be
think
top 20.
Well, I'll give you some names that I think are definitely going to fall. Like CJ Stroud will not be number 20. Like I think CJ Stroud will drop after the year that he had last year. Dak Prescott will not be 16.
Nope.
I don't see George Kittle being 14. I don't see George Kittle ranking that high, personally. I think most of these other guys. Well, Christian McCaffrey was number 3. Like, where does he end up? After missing
Someone asked
almost
a very
the entire
simple
year?
question: who's going to be 1? Is it Mahomes or is it Barkley? Because I
Do you
feel
know-
like
do
it's
you
going to
know
be
who
one
it
of
was
those
last
two.
year? Do you know who it was last year?
No.
I think I could give you 30 tries and you wouldn't get it.
Really?
really.
Tyreek Hill.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Nope.
So Saquon then, like if it's like skill position player of the moment, it's probably Saquon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Top
interesting.
5 I would. Top 5 I would think Saquon, Lamar, Josh Allen,
Mahomes.
Mahomes,
Lamar.
and
Here's Lamar.
Oh,
Pay
did you?
the Lamar. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking through the old list.
Oh, Derrick Henry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Probably top 5.
No
Like,
wide
that's who I
receivers.
Well, Chase did have a really good year.
Yeah.
What about AJ Brown?
Top 15, probably. I would think.
He was top 20 last year.
Because like Jamar and Justin Jefferson are probably going to be the 1 and 2 receivers, right?
I would imagine
Yeah.
so. AJ Brown was 21st. Justin Jefferson was 18th. CeeDee Lamb was 13th.
Do you guys think CeeDee
Wait,
Lamb is better
was
than
Justin
Justin Jefferson?
No.
I don't either.
No, I don't
That's
know if that's
interesting.
just like a proximity thing.
Well, Justin
'Cause I
Jefferson
see
was also
Justin-
injured last year, right?
Yeah.
2023, I should say.
Yeah, he only had 68
Yeah.
catches for 1,073
Yeah.
yards and 5 touchdowns. Good lord. Yeah, it's funny. Where was let me see where Jamar Chase was 45th last year.
That's wild.
Was he hurt?
I think he was, but he still had 100 catches and 1,200 yards receiving.
What? That's wild.
Well, yeah. I expect a big jump for Jabbar, though.
You guys don't want to talk Madden ratings, though?
We still haven't published anything on it, and I don't think that's going to change. Unless, no, like it could be a good like notes thing, but Morgan's on notes for the weekend, and he's not going to. I don't think Morgan gives an ounce of care.
Of
I'll
care.
just say about Madden ratings.
Not even a little bit. I mean, you might be able to like poke him into like talking about the fact that like Kirby and Brian Branch
We're what
Are
8
so-
and 9
8 and 9,
at safety.
like 7, 8, and 9. I tweeted that, but like 7, 8, and 9 was wild.
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch at 7, 8, and 9 is. I don't know if I wanted to get fired up about Madden ratings, like that's
Yeah.
Austin Mammoth, I think that there's a better chance that Panay Sewell lines up at quarterback for an extended period of time this year.
Then giving Morgan the keys to the POD quit Twitter account.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He would never. If we gave him the Twitter account during a game, and he watches the replies that we get, yeah, he wouldn't watch a second of the game. He'd just be picking fights with everybody.
I think Morgan he would probably geolocate and be like, "Here, I'm in this section. Come find me."
Come find me.
I think
Let's go meet at the big boy concession stand.
Dude, funny enough, and not to put Morgan on blast, but he just texted me because he's going off and off topic about some things on Twitter, and he just texted me a screenshot of, "Is this out of pocket to tweet?"
Oh man, that's my guy.
We say this all out of love, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Morgan, we love Morgan so much.
He's working really hard, man.
I think every company needs a Morgan. In all honesty, like every team needs one dude that's just like, I don't know how much I need this job.
That is such a perfect way to describe him. Askabum, the Raiders fan, has a follow-up with a $2 super chat. Says, Lions fans definitely have the same us versus the world thing. I was not aware that was a Raiders thing, but yes. Very much so, considering there's a whole brand of apparel. Detroit versus everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Is Miko Russell Crowe on Twitter? What?
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Okay.
But I'm also like not great with like movie references, so I'm like, is there maybe something that I'm missing about Russell Crowe?
Is your Twitter avatar you? I don't even know.
I think it's a family picture, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
I thought maybe that was it. Like, yeah. And Massey, thank you for following us on Twitch, and I am caught up on alerts. You want to jump back in? You want to talk inside the den? Got anything else that you want to talk about?
I mean, we can jump back in and then talk inside the den at the end.
Sure. Works for me.
Gives me time to finish inside the den.
during the second segment?
I mean, if you're that good at multitasking.
I'm not. Nobody is. Multitasking.
Especially when you got to lead this discussion.
The Big Buford T-Pain Player of the Week.
That's right.
I gotta find someone to make me a graphic for that now.
Do you want me to... I almost said scan this. Do you want me to take a picture of this so you have the graphic of this? I'm sure it's on.
Yes, please. Because I'm gonna try someone. Sounds like a Fiverr thing. $5.
Yeah, right?
I should open it, right?
I'm so curious on what it smells like.
Yeah, what does it smell like? I hope it smells like Jack in the Box tacos.
I hope it doesn't.
I'm gonna guess it looks like it smells purple.
Purple.
I was gonna go with chocolate, but
it's very strong. It's just like it's kind of like a fresh scent.
Standard fresh.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the Jack in the Box logo on the back?
Yeah, sort of.
Is that,
I mean,
it's just their person.
Sort of. Where is? I mean, it's the same like guy with a circle hat, but it's T-painted out.
T-paint on the
That does smell pretty good. I might actually start using this.
You have to take the Allen Park.
Wilkins. 5 Nights at Diddy's is wild.
All right, second segment, please.
Oh Lord, what is happening in the comment section? We gotta go to the other scene just so that we don't see it on the screen.
I 100% know that's YouTube, right? Like I don't even have to look to know that's
right.
YouTube. I mean that in a semi-disrespectful way.
Oh man. What, you YouTube's a little more unhinged. You say?
Yeah.
It does not smell like butts and genitals, Patrick. No, it does not.
Did you see the clip? Somebody clipped
It was
you
like Christian
saying,
Wilkins' hand.
Oh no. Oh no. What did they clip?
somebody clipped you when I was trying to wipe that off my Madi. Clipped you saying, "Are you actually rubbing it?"
Jesus. Why do we even record these?
So we can get that meat money.
We're just creating our own blackmail content.
Oh,
Yeah, no, there's a reason why we stream on YouTube now. Like, there's way more people on YouTube, and it's cut a little bit into the Twitch money, but like, we're also doing a really good job on YouTube. Thanks largely into the person over there. Am I pointing the right way on your guys' screen? That guy. I mean, Ryan does a good job too.
Perhaps. Thanks. The video's unavailable. I can't watch us live stream on YouTube on the school's Wi-Fi.
Your school thinks we're.
Doesn't that say something though, chat? Doesn't that say something? The school has YouTube blocked.
Is it YouTube or is it us talking about butts and genitals?
It is only certain videos. So.
Oh, then it's us.
Okay. All right.
I'm ready.
And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Now, we had some discussions during the break. There's apparently an announcement that we completely forgot to talk about during the beginning of this podcast. So Ryan, I'm going to kick it over to you because if I try and introduce what this is, I'm not going to get the name right. So why don't you let the people know what we got for them?
Yeah, I appreciate being the brainchild of this. This was actually sparked by a generous gift that was sent to our PO box. What was his name again?
Great
Jeremy?
question. I
Start with a B. Oh no. Anyways, Brandon. Shout out Brandon for sending us a T-Pain air freshener that they acquired from being a Jack in the Box customer. We're gonna give this away to the player of the game each week. I don't know if this will go into the actual season, but it seems like a fun, dumb thing that we should definitely do during the preseason. So each of us are going to nominate a player of the game for this week's preseason game against the Los Angeles Chargers. And Twitch chat is going to vote on all of our nominations. And then we're going to pick the Big Buford T-Pain player of the week.
In celebration of our love of Big Buford's, T-Pain, and football, right?
And Jack in the Box also, yeah.
Sure. I was trying to keep it specifically to T-Pain. I wasn't trying to give Jack in the Box that much credit, but sure, we can include them in this too.
We're looking for advertising dollars from everybody,
exactly.
Nico.
This is we checkers, Jack in the Box. It's up to you. We can knock the other one off of the promo name here if you want to invest a little bit here.
We're fungible.
I'm all in favor of this personally, and if this goes well for the preseason, I'm all in favor of doing this in the regular season too, because I feel like this is a prestigious award that we should just like stand by, for the entirety of the season. But with that said, guys, let's continue. Do we want to talk about our nominees?
Yeah,
right
we have
now?
to. Let's throw out our nominees for this week, and we're gonna
talk about our nominees.
Yeah, we have to. Let's who wants to go first? Who wants to be the first person to nominate the Big Buford
T-Pain player of the week?
Player of the week.
I want to go first just because I don't want mine stolen. So I'm gonna get mine out the way. I'm gonna go with Ahmed Hassanin. Ahmed looked absolutely incredible. I think we all kind of knew what we were kind of getting in terms of like energy, effort, and that was fully put on display in this game. I believe 4 tackles in this game. Had a couple really good run stops. And I think the thing that was most impressive about his performance last night was, like, we knew we were going to get the energy, but it was the awareness that really kind of stood out to me. The ability to not just be the guy that's crashing down the line and not paying attention to contain and things like that. Like, I thought he really showed a really good baseline of what the Lions have to work with in trying to get him to be a better player, um, ready for the regular season. So yeah, that's going to be my nominee. Ryan, who do you got?
I'm gonna leave the other one to Jeremy. I'm gonna go Rock Ya-Sin. I think the plays that he made in run defense were enough to say, okay, Rock Ya-Sin is more on this roster than anybody realizes. Like on that first drive, that goal line play where he goes out there, makes a makes a monstrous tackle. That's just like, oh, yeah. Like, not only are you, to Miko's point from the first segment, talking about Ennis Rakestraw, where it's like, not only are you filling the run, but you're like delivering the blow that stops the play. Rock Ya-Sin was awesome. He got credited with 2 run stops. And I think it was like 28.6% run stop rate. And for a cornerback, that's awesome from PFF numbers. So I'm gonna nominate Rock Ya-Sin because we also talked about it on the last podcast when we were previewing it. We were talking about like players that would stamp their way to the 53. I think that combined
Yeah.
with the veteran, play that he has, I think that there's enough that like Rock Ya-Sin is a guy who I would be surprised if he gets like a ton of play moving forward almost.
Yeah. Like you want to protect him at this point. For
Yeah,
sure.
valuable depth, right?
No question. And I also want to add, like, watching the all 22 of that game, Ya-Sin kind of stood out in coverage as well. I don't think he ever got
Mhm.
targeted, but he had his guy blanketed more often than not, and he played a good like 3 series, I think, in the game. So I think both really good picks, and I also want to say like Hassanin flashed where I didn't think he was going to. Right. And a lot of it is what Miko just said, where it's just like you think a guy that plays with his hair on fire, he's just going to be like knifing into the backfield and being a little reckless and like running past the quarterback and all that. And that was the exact opposite of what we saw. Like he was very disciplined in his pass rush lanes, and he was probably at his best run defending, which is, I have to imagine Dan Campbell's going to love all of that.
Yeah, I think he got credited with 3 run stops. I mean, that one before the end of the half was
That
awesome.
was great.
The only recklessness was the celebration right in Trey Lance's face afterwards, which I loved. I mean, you can tell that that guy was just having the time of his life. So, yeah, he was much better than I assumed he would be. So,
But I'm afraid you're both incorrect because the Big Buford T-Plane player of the week was Isaac Tesla.
it's hard to argue against that.
The best compliment I think you can give someone during a preseason game is that they looked like they didn't belong on that field. And Isaac Tesla did not look like he belonged on a field with a bunch of backups.
In any phase, right?
In any phase. As a gunner, as a receiver, he was wide open. I really liked the one thing I actually did like from the broadcast was them praising what I think is one of his best attributes, which is hand catching. He's catching that ball away from his body, and that is something that we've seen all of training camp, into his college tape, all that sort of stuff. He was excellent in a way that had me, one of the biggest critics of this pick, rethinking everything. The only mark I had on his bad day was the interception, where I thought maybe he could have fought through a little bit more physical contact, or maybe just tried to draw a penalty that he probably deserved. But that is extreme nitpicking. He was excellent. I'm suddenly a lot more excited. And maybe even with the Inside the Den, where they're like, this guy's going to help us immediately. Suddenly, like, my expectations for Isaac Tesla's rookie season are a little bit higher than I thought going into this game.
Couple of awesome numbers that I unearthed from PFF's premium stats. He had the second highest run blocking grade on the team behind Dan Skipper for any player with at least 9 run blocking snaps.
Oh, man. That was another thing from Inside the Den. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but they showed his Senior Bowl highlights blocking, and they were awesome.
So it was like, oh yeah, this is what Brad Holmes saw and immediately thought,
Yep. Yes.
This is our guy. Yeah, that just goes to show, like, I think you're right, Jeremy. Like, this guy's obviously going to get more plays. He's going to get more opportunities, and he's going to keep playing. But it's like he could be nominated each week for this award, I think.
Yeah. Very, very much so.
I was gonna say, I think 2 out of these 3 guys for sure definitely could. I mean, I think like you guys were saying with Rocky Sen, I think he might start getting a little protected because I think they're going to want to have that valuable depth. But Ahmed Hassanin and Isaac Tesla, I think, are 2 guys that we're going to continue to see throughout the preseason. And I think like both of them you have to feel really good about coming out of this game. I think to your point about Tesla, like the things that he did so well at Arkansas, being able to run in space, being able to make those strong catches with his hands and turn upfield and get yards after the catch are the things where going back to Inside the Den when Dan's talking about like, hey, we have a role for him, like it instantly clicked, right? And it was one of those things where you call it nitpicking on the interception. It's one of the reasons why I'm more upset about Kyle Allen's interception because I think Tesla would have absolutely came down with that ball if it had been put any more in his vicinity. And he was just looking that impressive throughout that game, Ryan. But I think even when you switch things over to Hassanin, like it's one game, but I think when you pair that game with some of the things that Kelvin Shepard was saying in his media availability about why he's excited about him, I think you start to really kind of connect those dots on the type of player he can be for the Lions throughout the rest of this offseason.
Yeah, and that's where you would hope the Lions have a lot of depth, right? Like I think the Lions feel pretty good about where they are in terms of the wide receiver position. Maybe even feel a little bit better about where they are now with the Tesla thing. But like on defense, it's like Marcus Davenport, and then I mean like Josh Pascal's going through his own things. Levi Onwuzurike is not going to be around to kick outside, so you definitely want to see more of those guys step up, and especially like if you can hit on a guy like this was everything that everybody loved about James Houston. It's like man, like this guy, he could be a sack artist. He's a late round pick. Like, man, this is perfect, especially now for a team. We just had a long discussion during the break about, the harsh reality of the Alex Anzalone situation. If you can get an edge rusher who's uber productive, who was a 6th round pick, I mean, that's like, that's what everybody
Winning the
talks about,
lottery.
like getting a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
That's not a 1st round pick. So that would be huge for them. The one other thing I do want to say about Tesla that I thought was awesome, 13 snaps out wide, only 3 snaps as a slot receiver.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Like
their X.
they're doing
Like
the thing.
it's not much of a question that's what his future role is with this team. He is going to beat Tim Patrick. It's just a question of when.
Well, that was gonna be my question for you, Jeremy. Is like, do you see this more as a launching pad to this being a more legitimate like camp battle between him and Tim Patrick for more snaps at that X position?
A lot of people have asked this question, like, is Tim Patrick's spot on the roster in jeopardy? And I think the answer to that is still no. But is his playing time in jeopardy? I think the answer might be yes. I mean, not necessarily week 1, but they like to slaw a lot. We saw Dan Campbell like to slaw a lot in that war room, and he's starting to meet some of those expectations in a hurry. And so it is going to be a really interesting conversation of like when you make that transition, if it is in the middle of the season, if it is early in the season, is it after the season? It doesn't help that like Tim Patrick had a slow start to camp and he's off there telling people like, I kind of suck right now. Like I need to pick it up. But I appreciate the honesty, and like there's proof of concept with him, right? Like I don't think people understand just how tough training camp is. It's harder than regular season practice. It's harder than games. 8 practices in 10 days where you are going at least 90 minutes, sometimes 2.5 hours, sometimes with pads multiple days in a row. When you get something like 8 padded practices during the season, it's crazy. And so Tim Patrick is like, oh, this is a whole nother beast. But we know that he can go out there on game day and perform and do what they want him to do. And they're not going to take that for granted for a guy that might show a little bit of inconsistencies because he's a rookie, and that's what rookies do. So, I mean, it's a really good question, but I still think Tim Patrick is in the driver's seat if we're talking like week 1.
Yeah. And I'll say the last thing about Tesla is like you saw the special team stuff, and it's like that guy's going to immediately contribute, even if it's not, on offense, which it's like there are so many other mouths to feed on offense. It's like, take your time on that, right? Like I know you're going to get out there, you're going to make an impact in some way, shape, or form. But Miko, to your question, I think that now it's at least opened the door to the idea that maybe he's going to get more opportunities on offense earlier than expected. I don't think that's unfair to throw out there. I think the only thing we need to throw out there now is a vote, right?
Is the vote? Yes.
Put it to the chat.
Yes. So if you're listening to us on the podcast, your vote doesn't count. I'm sorry. But just more reason to join us live on twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit, where I'm going to start a 5-minute poll. And then at the end of this podcast, where you will hear, if you're listening on the podcast, we'll reveal the winner as decided by our Twitch chat.
Booyah.
One thing I did want to transition to, though, guys, because you guys were talking about Isaac Tesla, there is another receiver that was out there, another rookie receiver that I think his play was a little more mixed. But for me personally, Jeremy, like I came away still very much impressed with Dominic Lovett. And maybe that's me telling on myself that like I didn't probably have the highest bar for him going in, but I thought outside of the two drops or the one drop that turned into an interception, I thought he showed a good like level of versatility and route running and playmaking that I wasn't quite expecting, from a seventh round draft pick. And so how much do you see that really impacting, I guess, his stock going into like this next week of training camp practice?
Yeah, it's hard. I had a very up and down feel for his day as well. And you kind of mentioned all the down stuff. He also had a penalty on special teams where he went out of bounds and was the first one to touch the football. He had one, I thought, really good punt return that was like 20 plus yards, but then like one kick return that was like also 20 yards, which is now a bad kick return in the new rules. So, I mean, it was up and down. The drop was tough. Even the fourth down catch was like, ooh, you almost dropped that too. I don't know if do you downgrade someone for an almost drop? I don't know. If you're trying to assess their talent level, I think you do at least a little bit. And you're like, okay, that's 2 plays where, he had trouble handling the football. That being said, again, he was a guy that stood out amongst the rest where he was getting open a lot. He was running pretty crisp routes. His athleticism is very obvious. And for a guy that hasn't done a lot of return, but they've basically said from the beginning he's got some return potential, it's hard to disagree. He looked decent in that role, particularly in punt return. And I know that's not an open job in Detroit, but it could be next year, right? A lot of people have continually made that comparison as like maybe Dominic Lovett is Khalif Raymond in 2026. And so I think I saw enough there to be like, okay, I can see where this might be headed. I'd like to see a little. He must have done gunner work, but I didn't stand out to me because obviously that's something he did in college and was pretty darn good at.
Say, I think he got down there on maybe might have been one down punt that he might have had.
Is that the one that he got the penalty on?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, the illegal touching
yes.
one, right? Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yep. I think also the Lovett thing, 'cause I agree with mostly everything you guys are saying in terms of kind of like the up and down. Like you're encouraged by like some of the technical stuff, whether it's route running or the athleticism or whatever it may be. This was a guy who Georgia last year, I mean, had 91 targets, across all the games that he played. Him and Tesla were both targeted heavily, and I say heavily, like Tesla got 3 targets, but Lovett had 9.
Yeah.
Like they were clearly trying to get the football to him, and maybe that was by design, right? Like these are 2 guys that you think are going to be legitimate, players on your 53-man roster. Not that I would hope that there isn't a Lions 2025 season where Dominic Lovett is getting wide receiver snaps. But at least getting him the work. And I think the other side of the coin, though, is that you look at some of the other wide receivers and the performances that they had, and it was like, ooh, it was a really tough day for some of the other receivers. I mean, Jacoby Keeney James. I mean, that it was tough in numerous phases there. Tom Kennedy, poor Tom Kennedy, got targeted once, and it was the one that got returned back.
I think we're finally starting to get to that part of Lions history where we can probably start to fade maybe some of the Tom Kennedy lore. It's gonna be a sad like fading, but I think like when you have guys like Tesla and Dominic Lovett like kind of getting the bulk of those targets, I think it does at least gives you a boost a boost in faith for the youth of this team. And I kind of said this when Morgan and I were, kind of doing our YouTube video where we kind of did like a stock up, stock down. Dominic Lovett was somebody that I had stock up for because, Jeremy, you kind of said it, like some people look at him as that eventual Khalif Raymond replacement. And going into the offseason, like I didn't see it. Coming out of this game, I at least have a glimmer of it of like, okay, I see how it could work, right?
Yeah.
It's still probably a year or two away, but he definitely has the makeup of a player that, like, hey, he probably could fit in that role where he's like a wide receiver five on a team, wide receiver four, wide receiver five that you kind of tried out there here or there, but he's also just like one of your key special team guys when it comes down to punt and kick return. If he can start to master that aspect of the game.
Yeah. He's a guy that I'm continually fascinated by because I mean, it does feel like there is an intention with his usage, like you were saying, where 9 targets was not an accident. And part of it is, I think, is a credit to himself for getting open and making those opportunities for himself. But it also feels like it to me that this coaching staff is just fascinated with the guy and trying to figure out ways to use him.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys, like, I feel like we did hit on a good amount of like the top names, right? When it comes down to guys who have stood out. Is there anyone that you kind of like that's a little less mentioned, but you were just like, hey, like they actually had a good showing? Maybe not stat wise, maybe just more technically, that really kind of on your way out, you're like, all right, good game for that person.
I mean, Nate Lynn stuck out, but Nate Lynn kind of picked up where he left off, in the preseason game where he got hurt last year. And, a guy who can, get into the backfield, cause pressures, led the Lions in pressures last night with 3. On a night where I didn't think there was like a ton of push up front, but
Hmm.
I thought going into the game, I thought he had an opportunity to come back and get back to where he left off. And he was a guy who kind of stood out for me personally. I don't know about you guys.
Well, along the same lines, like it doesn't show up on the PFF score or really any box score, but I thought Isaac Ukwu kind of did some of the same stuff that I saw from Nate Lynn. Particularly, he was way more physical than I remember. I put out a clip on Twitter of him just like one-arming a dude back into the quarterback in a really, really impressive way, the right tackle. And that wasn't the only time he did something like that. That the edge depth is fascinating to me because Ukwu and Lynn and Agude, who I didn't think had a particularly good game in this instance, like those are guys that have just been hanging around, and like you see the flashes and you wonder if that eventually grows into something else, or if even the opportunity for them to do something like that is there. And it's like, well, maybe this year is that opportunity because you're not going to have Josh Pascal right away, because Levi Onwuzurike is out for the year, because maybe you're not comfortable putting Ahmed Hassanin out there right away since he's so new to football. Like maybe there's going to be a spot on the roster, and not only on the roster, but like maybe even in the rotation early on in the season where one of those guys is impacting, is logging 10 snaps a game. And if they continue to, show these little flashes here and there, then maybe they will. But you always kind of have to bring yourself back to like, this is the preseason. Most teams don't have 6 good offensive linemen, let alone the 10th and 11th guys that you're going up against in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. I had 2 guys on the offensive line. One that I think stood out very well, like showing wise, and that's Coyote Awashika. I thought he looked absolutely like you talked about Isaac Teslaw, like at one point in time looking like, hey, that's probably a guy that shouldn't be on the field. Like I thought that like, Coyote had a couple blocks where it's like, okay, like he's clearly the more seasoned player like on that offensive line right now. And I'm gonna give some love to Giovanni Manu because I thought he played well. Like it wasn't anything drastically impressive, but when you're talking about a guy that like had so much that he had to develop in last year, like I give him a lot of credit for doing like the little things well, for getting, guys square, for moving his feet, for getting good hand placement. He did that enough for me in this game where I was like, good mark for Giovanni, right? Like it's something that he's clearly taken to coaching, and he's clearly worked on his craft in a really, meaningful way.
I'll let Jeremy chime in on Geo because he is the resident Geo. Trying to look for the right word. Optimist?
Sure. Hopeful.
Okay.
Hopeful guy.
There you go.
That's not a term. No,
You're a hopeful guy.
I'm
You're
a hopeful
Geo
guy.
hopeful guy.
I'm rooting for the dude, and yeah, I think Miko explained it well. Like there wasn't a lot of great, there wasn't a lot of terrible. It was just a baseline level performance, which is an improvement, right? It wasn't. He never really stuck out for something negative. I thought his run blocking was a little bit better than his pass sets, but like I keep watching the very last offensive play, the Hendon Hooker interception, where he's at left tackle, and the guy tries to do a spin move on him and gets him off kilter. He's on his back feet, but he's always in between him. Like, he stays in between him, and it gives Hendon Hooker like a foot, less than a foot room to make the throw that he needed to. And I'm just like, I wouldn't call that a win, but it's also not a loss, and it shows a little bit of growth for me. So like, that to me is the quintessential play from Giovanni Manu last night, where it wasn't fantastic, it wasn't by the book, it wasn't exactly what you need, but it got the job done in a way that was like, okay, there's progress here.
Yeah, because you're not expecting that everything's perfect or that he's shaping up to be a guy who's, oh man, like, should the Lions trade Taylor Decker? The the question I had, I think, coming out of this game was, is the race for tight end 3 a little bit closer than maybe we presumed? And I know Kenny Yeboah got knocked out with an injury that looked a lot more serious than it ended up actually being.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit concerned because it looked bad. But, I mean, both him and Zylstra were out there on the very first snap. I think Zylstra played, if I'm remembering correctly, like
15 to 20 snaps.
15 to 20 snaps, and then Yeboah played like 20, like high 20s. So I'm just wondering, I think that race may be a little bit closer than we think it is. What do you guys think about that? You guys feel similarly or no?
Before I answer that, we were trying to figure out like how to label Jeremy as a Giovanni like Manu fan. Shout out to our Twitch chat. A Geo dude is absolutely the way that we're gonna go with that.
Very great pun. Yeah.
I'm a Geo dude. Thanks, Daskib.
Gotta catch them all.
That's awesome right there. But I would agree with you, Ryan. I think the thing I don't know if I would say that I forgot or maybe it just kind of showed up and it was a good reminder for me in last night's game, is just the differences in Yeboah and Zylstra's skill set. Like, I think we all realize that Shane Zylstra is the better pass catcher, but this Lions team still prioritizes blocking, and that's the thing that Yeboah did so well in that game. So it's going to be an interesting battle between the two of them, because you have one that is clearly flashing and when it comes down to receiving and making plays in the passing game, but the other guy is doing the dirty work. And it's going to be interesting to see how Dan Campbell, a former tight end, is going to lean when you have two guys that have fairly different strengths, Jeremy. But I think both are definitely needed on this team.
I'm not counting out Zach Horton either. I thought Zach Horton was great last night. I honestly thought all the tight ends played relatively well. I know Shane Zylstra got tagged with the early holding penalty, but as I said earlier, I don't actually think it was entirely his fault.
Well, it wasn't Zach Horton's fault that he was running that
terrible route
on the play action bootleg either.
But like, Horton got 22 reps last night. 6 of those were at the fullback position, which again, like, that's something that I think he probably does better than anyone else on the team. That is something that they're going to require of kind of all their tight ends too. Like, it's not, they don't carry a strict fullback, and I don't know if they ever will, but they ask their tight ends to sometimes,
right?
Go into motion in the backfield, or start in motion in the backfield and motion out to inline. And I came away pretty darn impressed with all 3 of those guys last night, which is a little bit surprising because none of them really stuck out to me much in training camp. But hey, if you're a tight end, what better way to show up when the pads come on and you're actually hitting each other for real?
Absolutely. One thing I did want to ask, because we've talked about players a fair amount, and unless there's another player that you guys want to mention, but I did want to kind of shift the conversation to, this was the first time we got to see these coordinators in action as well, on both, talking about Kelvin Shepherd and Johnny Moe. Any takeaways from either of them, whether good, bad, or indifferent, as far as like, I think we've kind of already had some questions about some of John Morton's play calling decisions, but just really curious, Ryan, like, anything that stood out from the first time seeing both these coordinators in quote unquote action?
Well, I wonder if there's anything there obviously has to be something different with Ben Johnson was on the field and John Morton was up in the booth. And there were 2 instances in which, I don't know if I want to put this on John Morton, but like, They had to burn the timeout with Kyle Allen when he killed and wanted to audible the play. And I think it also happened to Hendon Hooker too,
It
where
did.
he kind of ran out of time
Yep.
as well. So uh, procedural things maybe, and great that it's happening right now in week 0 of the preseason, and also it's your backup quarterbacks. It didn't seem very apparent to me, the defensive stuff with Kelvin Shepard though. So, but there were those two things, and I don't want to be the he needs to be on the field kind of guy. I think you can be a great OC and be up in the booth, but it's just different, right? So hopefully they're working on that stuff. I mean, that wasn't the only procedural thing. The entire beat couldn't even go talk to Dan Campbell because of that building. So
Good job, Hall of Fame game. Yeah, now, obviously, this sort of stuff is hard to capture with the blind eye, right? In terms of procedural stuff, in terms of play calling. Obviously, the playbook isn't full at all at this point. They're still installing a bunch, so a lot of the things that you're going to see out there are relatively plain. I did find it interesting that at one point the announcers were like, yeah, usually like cover zero blitzes are a no-no during these preseason games, but both teams seem to be firing off, and it's just like, yeah, well, have you met Dan Campbell, Jim Harbaugh? Like that's they're not taking this like an extra preseason game. This is a real game for them.
do you know who Kelvin Shepard studied under?
Right.
Exactly.
But the one thing I will say about it is one of the goals Dan Campbell had for this preseason was to make sure that the communication between everyone was working properly. Everyone on the headsets, new guys here, new guys there. And he talked about it after the game, and he said it was actually better than he expected. And so I don't know what that actually looks like. I don't know, like Ryan said, if any of those communication issues that did pop up were resulted in those early timeouts. Maybe, a play didn't get in on time for one or both of those quarterbacks. We don't really know, but Dan Campbell seemed to be pretty optimistic about how things played out. And so I'm willing to take his word for it.
I would say for myself, like you guys both said, there's not a lot to see in a preseason game. Like you're not necessarily exposing your entire playbook. From the defensive side, though, I at least liked the intensity. Like it very much still felt like, I guess, what I'm starting to coin as like Detroit Lions football defensively, right? Guys rallying to the football, guys in your secondary being just as involved in the run game as they are worried about covering. Again, because it's third and fourth units, maybe things are a tick slower than you would like them to be, but at least the makeup of like, okay, I can see how Kelvin Shepard is going to want to play defense. And it's definitely a continued mentality that Aaron Glenn helped install when he got here. The same thing with Johnny Morton. I think, Ryan, to your point, that was something that when like it first came out during his press conference that like, oh, he'll be in the press box. Like I did get a little like uncomfortable. Like I don't know if I like that. Ben Johnson was on the field, but like that's something that I think as fans we have to catch ourselves with and be like, all right, like this may be different, but just because it's different doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily change the product on the field in a negative context.
Yeah, for sure. There was one thing defensively that I remember now that I kind of think back to it. There was a play where I think it was earlier in the game where like Pat O'Connor got stuck on the field, and like he was like running between like the
Yeah.
sideline or whether or not he was supposed to be in or
Mhm.
not. It happened early, and I don't recall really any of that kind of stuff happening like later in the game. But yeah.
That stuff is also going to happen a lot more in the preseason game when you have like 10 times the rotations, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a ton more guys. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's pretty much everything that I kind of like that we kind of had to talk about. Jeremy, I think we have to get to the Big Buford T-Pain Player of the Week award.
That's right.
I got
I
it.
don't
All
have
right.
the final percentages because it disappears after it's gone, but with I would say around 60% of the vote, the inaugural Big Buford T-Pain Player of the Week is Isaac Deslaw.
I mean, he's off to a great start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of
I
hard,
think,
kind of hard to live up to this, if I'm being honest.
I mean, one touchdown pass, I think will pretty much kind of like solidify that. Like giving him one trick play where he can maybe throw a pass.
Oh boy. Don't
I think that's
don't
all
tell
he needs.
don't tell don't there are other teams that listen to this podcast, Miko. Don't let them know.
Yeah, Miko, are you giving it away right now that John Morton's going to install a wing T formation?
Listen, I'm just saying the kid is very talented. He has a multifaceted skill set, and this is a coaching staff that isn't afraid to try things like having their linebacker return kicks. So, you never know what could be the next thing that's up for this Lions team. But that's pretty much going to do it for us, guys. We appreciate you guys taking the time to listen and watch. If you guys want to stay locked in with all of the additional Lions content we have, you can always check out pridedetroit.com. There are new articles being put up there literally every single day, multiple times throughout the day. So definitely take some time to go check out the website and show a little bit of love to our writers because they put in a lot of time and effort, putting those articles out there. If you want to stay locked into more of our video content, you can always check that out on youtube.com/Pride of Detroit. Slash Pride of Detroit, or over on twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit, where you can watch these live streams back and even actually get to hang out with us during our breaks. If you kind of missed that from listening to the podcast. Also, you can make sure to check out Pride of Detroit Direct, which is our paid subscription service, $50 for the entire year, and you guys get even more content than what you're currently getting. Yes, there's plenty of good free content, and it's really all good, but you get even more content, more exclusive stuff, such as an additional midweek mailbag from Jeremy and Eric, just also some additional just video content and written content. I believe First Bite has moved over to Pride of Detroit Direct, so if you miss First Bite, that's where you're going to find it. All of it's really well worth your time and worth your effort to kind of be able to check that content out as well. But like always, you can always check us out over here on Pride of Detroit, over on twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit every week for the podcast. And yeah, wherever you find podcasts at. So with all that said, I'm Miko. He's Jeremy. He's Ryan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch and listen, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bam.
Recording stopped.
Got to find money in the budget for a cowboy hat for Miko.
Yeah.
I really want one. Like,
Do you really?
I'm so serious. Just to honestly, even just to irritate Kalila, because she would be like, "Why do you have this thing?" And I'm be like, "Just because."
Listen, now that you're part of the live show, you gotta learn to shill for yourself. Exclamation point PO box in the chat.
There you go.
I don't know if I have to give a size because I've never had a cowboy hat, so I have a big head, so
Large.
make sure
Wink,
make sure it can contain all of this.
Sir and Baby Sir and Jeremy, are you excited for the Naked Gun? They're saying comedy movies are back.
I loved the Naked Gun movies as a kid, and it's getting really good reviews, and it's created by one of the Lonely Island guys. So I'm 100%.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, good for comedy.
And I kind of think Liam Neeson is perfect.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more involved and invested in this budding romance between him and Pam Anderson.
It is weird. I've only seen a clip or two, so I don't entirely understand what's going on. Are they actually a couple?
I think they're just kind of I think they're just kind of
maybe. We'll see.
Being old and having fun.
It adds to the intrigue. I think
does.
Liam Neeson is significantly older than Pam Anderson, though, right?
I have no idea.
I have no clue. I know when I saw the picture of her, I was like, she looks older than what I thought she should look like.
Yeah, I mean, she's 58, but I think he's in his 70s. He's 73.
15 years at that age? Meh.
I mean, go back to 1999 you and be like, hey, Pam Anderson's going to start dating Liam Neeson in 25 years.
My answer would be, who's Liam Neeson? First of all.
I was going to literally say that would be my question. It's who? I know who the first person you're talking about is. No clue who the other dude is.
Stop. You guys would be like, Darkman? Darkman's going to start dating
Excuse
Pam
me?
Anderson?
What is Darkman?
You've never seen Darkman?
No.
It's a Sam Raimi.
Oh, she refuses to wear makeup? Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a superhero movie that Sam Raimi made in 1990.
Are you thinking of Blank Man? Because that's different.
No.
Wait, doesn't it have Marlon?
That's Blank Man.
Or is it?
That's
No,
Blank
that's
Man. Yeah, that's Blank Man. This is no fly by. I mean, Frances McDermott's in it.
Darkman.
Yeah, it's a legit movie.
1990. You weren't even born yet.
$14 million budget. $48 million at the box office.
Never even heard of it.
No clue what this is.
Unreal.
They made
Or-
3 of them?
Well, I don't think he was in the other ones, but also I think it'd be just as easy to be like, the guy from Schindler's List is dating Pam Anderson.
I don't think I've ever seen Schindler's List.
Never seen it.
God, Jeremy, like, are you allowed to admit that on stream? Does that make you a bad Jew?
I mean, obviously, yes. Yeah, 100% it does.
Not as bad as Jerry Seinfeld though, getting caught making out during Schindler's List.
That's right. I want to get out of this conversation as fast as possible.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Martin, thank you for following on Twitch. Massey, thank you for following on Twitch. And Stephen G, thank you for following on YouTube. Did that work? Did I pull out of that conversation?
I was gonna ask about Inside the Den if we wanted to. If
Oh, there we go. Wow,
Yeah,
master of segues. Look at Miko.
I know how to back out of an uncomfortable situation.
First of all, Ryan, how much of Inside the Den have you seen?
I got all the way through Tyleek Williams, and then I tweeted about Tyleek Williams, and I was done with it. So I was like, I've seen enough.
What?
I said
just the first pick.
I said I'm super excited about what Tyleek Williams, Aleem McNeil, and DJ Reader will look like. Because honestly, like that, like it was enough for me to pause. It was enough for me to pause and be like, "Oh, I think I'm way more excited about this pick than I was," especially on like draft night.
Yeah.
Like I think I ended up giving it like a B-,
Right.
as far as like draft grades went, which is like the biggest cop out of a grade for a draft grade.
Yeah, pretty much. B minus is just like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be on the hook for a strong opinion on this pick.
Right, because you can argue either way. Like
Right,
if they end up being bad, it's like, well, I gave it a B-.
Right.
If they end up being good, it's like, well, I gave it a B-. But I think, like, again, my favorite part of the entire series is always those combine interviews.
Yeah.
Like, I got done watching that combine interview where they're like, they threw like everything at me, and I was just like, boom, 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 boom. And they were clearly like super stoked and psyched that he made it all the way there. Very shades of Levi Onwuzurike, where it was like they were getting impatient a little bit, and it's like, I don't know if this guy's gonna fall to us.
Yeah.
And like that's one of those clues, Jeremy. I know like you are rightfully always very skeptical of like I thought it was
Editing.
really funny that you called it propaganda, which I thought was like, that's like a strong word.
There was part of me is like, they're going to see this and they're going to talk to me about it when I see them next. I probably shouldn't use that word, but I'm just like, whatever.
But I
Like they're all excited. Like we finally released Inside the Den. Let's see what people are saying on the internet. Oh, here's Jeremy calling it propaganda. I'm like,
here's
tweeted that.
Yeah, I mean, like when a dictator calls something propaganda, you know that it's propaganda. But like to your point though, like I guess in the other way, it's like you saw like their interest like along the way in the draft, where it was like they had that guy circled. How early?
Yeah. Well, and it was that way with almost every pick too, which is always
whoa,
kind of
spoilers.
Yes, sorry. I'm gonna spoil the biggest one
You can spoil all of it.
had me feeling maybe the most different about the pick after it was made was that after day 2 was over and they make the big trade up to Slaw. I can't remember who. I think maybe Rob Lohman, the director of college scouting, turns to Brad Holmes as like they're leaving and be like, "Hey, if we would have stayed put, who would you have picked?" He goes, "I don't know, that guard from Georgia probably,
LSU
or LSU, that LSU guard." I'm like, "Oh, you guys were real high on Miles Frazier. Okay, okay."
I think
Let's get
the
that guy
opposite
healthy.
effect of that that I had of that was like when it was between Ahmed and they were like, yeah, it's between him and Dan Jackson. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, the hell are we talking about?
Right. And then Brad's just like, maybe I'll just get them both.
That was like, yeah, that was the only moment where I was like, nah, I probably could have probably used a greater explanation on the Dan Jackson in the 6th round.
So
Yeah.
how much would you guys like? How much would you pay to sign an NDA and be able to watch all of the uncut footage.
Just let me sit in the draft room. And but I have to be close enough to all these whispers that happen between Brad and Dan. I need to be able to hear it all.
You could peek in between them.
Just pop up from under the desk, be like, "What'd you say?
What was that?
What was that?"
Bro, I'd be happy just put me in the back room near the door with a bucket of popcorn. I'm just chilling.
It has always been a mild dream of mine to be in a draft war room, which I know sounds ridiculous for someone who is as anti-draft as I am. But to me it is.
That's where it's exciting.
It's this chamber of secrets mystery. Where exactly. They should write a book named Chamber of Secrets and just make it about the draft.
I think that should actually be the subtitle to the sequel to Draft Day.
Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets.
Part 1.
Only if Daniel Radcliffe can make an appearance.
$200.
You'd pay more.
I would. I would definitely pay more.
Probably 5. I get to actually be in the war room. Obviously I don't get to contribute, but I just get to be there and hear everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're gonna get Will Smith, Men in Black, at the end of it.
Whatever. I lived it.
But I'm not even gonna have a memory of living it.
Wait. Yeah. Back down to 200.
All right. Well then, okay. NDA.
Yeah. They put something in your brain where if you tell anyone about it, you immediately die.
Down to 3. Because now I have to have surgery.
Gosh, man. Jeremy's really pushing this propaganda fascist state that the Lions are cultivating.
It's not just them. Everyone puts out their propaganda.
I just because I think outside of just seeing how they navigate the draft, I think just seeing their board would be 100%. Well worth what. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts too is when Dan is always he always brings up the positional coach being super excited.
Yeah.
I know Casey Rogers super excited. We got Tyreek Williams.
Yep.
It happens every year.
Fraley popped his head in at some point. Spoiler.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. I think it's one of the other things that's cool about it is getting the area scouts point of view of these players.
Yeah. Oh, I love that about the guy who's he's I've never had anybody drafted before. And it's
yeah.
They drafted my guy in the first round.
I did something.
Can you imagine the bragging rights that go around with the scouting department where it's they picked 3 of my guys in a row.
Go from bragging to immediate they better work out.
Right. If they busted,
that
was dude that was Frank in the other department.
That was.
Hey, who was responsible for scouting Broderick Martin? No.
Oh, poor Project. I tried to point out a good play of his last night.
I thought he made it. I thought he made a good play, and then it was Chris Smith.
I can't believe he only played 12 snaps.
I would have expected more.
They're also. Yeah. I just looked at the size difference between Chris Smith and Broderick Martin, and it's sizable. I should never get those guys confused ever.
I mean, 90 and 99 look the same. We talked about this.
It's true.
The jerseys are tough to read.
Yeah, except we can never complain after the jerseys they just got out of, where it was impossible. Broderick Martin did have the best draft day video, Austin Mammoth. That is on record. The TikTok of the NFL draft calling him.
The NFL draft's on the phone. Good stuff. Time to get out of here. I feel like that was the appropriate lull there to maybe move on. I also do want to say, if you're on Twitch, hang around because we are going to go raid our friends S Studs, who's doing the charity stream for Alex Reno's niece right now. They've raised a ton of money.
That's awesome.
Over $1,000, which already hit their goal. But if you guys want to continue to give, we're going to raid Sarah right now. And if you want to take part of it and you're on YouTube, jump to our Twitch channel right now, twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit. And and it'll automatically redirect to her stream once we're done.
Awesome. Because that's even before the event takes place. You know what I mean? We
the
still
bowling
have the
event.
I was
bowling.
gonna say, like,
was
that's
it
a
August 10th?
August 10th, a week from Sunday.
Yeah.
I forgot what lanes it is, but somewhere in Westland.
Westland.
You guys should come. $35. Like I mentioned before, $35, 2 rounds of bowling, which includes shoes, shoe rentals. It includes pizza and pop. That's like a legit good bowling deal.
I was gonna say, and bowling alley food is like severely underrated in my opinion.
Ooh.
That's a take. I like that take.
feel like-
I've always had good wings from bowling alleys, so like
Interesting.
I feel like you get, yeah.
Interesting that you order wings at a bowling alley because I feel like you need your fingers.
It's
You
true.
know?
I'm not a great bowler in the first
He's
place.
in it for the food, not the bowling.
Yeah. That's fair.
I'm trying to like come up with like takes now. Like, what are the best non-restaurant places to eat?
You're going
Which I think is-
you're going to summon a list cast. Like every time you guys
No,
do
you're right.
this, that's how
You're right.
list cast.
And I can't even think of like any other things that fit into that category.
I somehow stumbled across this though. Did you see what Coastal Carolina's doing? The football team with their they're doing free concessions at every
What?
game. Free concessions.
No one's gonna watch the games.
Are they?
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
They
stand
have
there like,
attendance issues.
another hot dog, please. Just pound it.
You think you'll do that, but you won't. You know what I mean? Like, but I think it was like popcorn, hot dogs, like nachos. Can't remember if it was pizza too, but it was like, yeah, all their concessions all year long are free.
I need to know everything about this.
I don't want to admit how I found out about it.
CCU fans who buy a ticket to the game will be able to select
Pat
up
McAfee
to
show.
up to 4 items per concession stand visit. From a
Per
menu-
visit?
Per visit.
So you can get
Okay.
4 things per visit? That's
Yeah.
unlimited.
That's
Hot
that's
dogs
still
and-
solid.
Hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, and fountain drinks.
I mean, if you were on the fence about whether or not you're going to go to the game, you'd be like, well, free meal.
Hey, I'm a big Chanticleers fan now. Go Chanticleers, which is apparently real. That it's the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers.
Oh, they're
Which-
legit though.
What is that? I have no idea.
They're Division 1. They're in the Sun Belt Conference.
Oh, they're playing App State this year. I love them even more.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That's where the only reason I went to that though is because you brought up the idea of like, where's the best like non-restaurant places to get food?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
teams are
Games.
trying, right? Teams are trying.
A
Also,
minor
Isaac-
league baseball game.
So I was gonna say some leagues are trying better, or some leagues are trying harder than others. But
Than others,
yes,
yeah.
baseball could rein it in a little bit.
All right. I think it's time to get out of here. Thanks everybody
right.
for hanging out. Hopefully you guys feel a little bit better about the preseason game, or maybe you guys are all here because you aren't the ones that are freaking out. The ones that are freaking out are running naked in the streets. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, where's this happening?
I don't know. It's happening though.
It's not a lot of good body built people, Ryan. Trust me. It's something you want to see.
I read it on Facebook. That means it's happening.
All those people are eating Coney dog pizzas right now.
God, I'm glad that's not a thing anymore. Oh man, Graham is live too. But we got to go read our friends here. So hang tight if you're on Twitch. You'll be automatically directed to that stream. If you can, donate. If you can't, just hang around because the more people that are in that stream, the more visible it becomes to the public, and maybe someone else will step in and
Yep.
and help out.
Yeah.
YouTube, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you as always. When are we going to be live next? I don't know. Someone wanted
really
me to
gotta
do a
figure that
Madden
out.
sim. The new Madden's not even out yet, so I'm not Madden simming until the next Madden's out.
Yeah, and also EA Sports, send us a freaking code.
Yeah. Please.
That'd be
We,
nice.
we used to get codes all the time, Miko.
That's true. We gave them away.
I do
to
remember that.
viewers.
I do remember that because I never got one, but it's all right.
Well, you got this job, so everything worked out.
That's right.
Yeah, I played the long game.
All right. We'll see you later, YouTube or Twitch. YouTube, hang around for a second. Make sure the raid goes through on Twitch.